Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 260. Robert will be doing some UFO crashes and abduction stories. Whoop. Just check out the audio here, make sure it's not crackling, distorting. Sounds alright this end. We'll see what happens when Robert comes on mic. This is pushing up the CPU now. 100% it reckons. I don't know why. It's starting to crackle then. Does seem a wee bit better though. Overclocking still doesn't do it for us. Still need a better computer, Robert. We have to work with what we got. Hopefully I've done that correct. Going down through the studio. Still 100% CPU. That's crazy. It's almost like Jitsi has increased the CPU usage it normally used. Hello, good to be back. Hopefully it's not corrupting because the CPU is high. Be civil on the side, no hardcore swearing. Let's just have a bit of fun and listen to some more cases from Robert of UK Wales.
Yeah.
So, looks like it's dropped back to the desktop, okay. I don't think I typed my welcome message yesterday, did I? Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't.
It's not too important.
Yeah, I know it's not important, but consistency. So what are we doing today, Robert?
We're doing the Needles UFO crash 2008. And thanks to Ken, we're doing the Antonio Villas Boas case, 1957. And he's opened up a whole can of worms. I hope he's here because things are about to get a little bit exotic.
I can see a Ken in the side chat.
Didn't want to use the word harmony, but I just did. Oops, but I think I got away with it.
Okay, so we got a Joe Briggs, welcome, Ken Cole, Mrs.
A whole can of worms. I hope he's here because things are about to get a little bit exotic.
I can see a Ken in the. Hopefully the audio's sounding all right there. I think someone played it back just then. Robert, Susan, how you going? Charles is with us. Good. We don't have to send out a personal beep on Discord. Did the notifications work on time this time? Because Susan got 3 yesterday, going live 30 minutes ago. So yeah, we just got 3 of the four hardcore followers there. So we're going to Needles, California, USA first. You got a link there handy?
Yeah,
Robert?
but before we go to that, happy birthday, Suzanne.
All right, yeah, I was meant to post a thing on Facebook last night and I totally forgot. Or did I post one? I'm not too sure now. No, I don't think I did in the end. Anyway, yeah, happy birthday. Getting old now. Okay. I hate birthdays now because it reminds you near in the grave side of things.
Yeah, jeez, it's closer and closer to the Undertaker. I know, mate.
Yeah. Well, you got through C19. I'm not sure if I've got it or had it or whatever, but New
I
Zealand's
don't know if I've
closed
quite
it
got
down.
through it all because I tell you what, I'm still feeling fatigue. I mean, it's
Yeah,
hard
I can't
work.
stop. Yeah, I can't stop sleeping lately. It's kind of
Yeah,
strange.
same here. Same here. I'm struggling to stay up like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit easier because I had some mates down, especially my best friend Gwen. You know, and we're kind of trying to help each other through this stupid crisis that's going on in the UK at the moment. You know, and yeah, so it's one of them. It is what it is. We'll have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But let's take our mind off that.
It doesn't matter. Google limit our ads anyway. Ooh, that looks a bit big font there. Looks looking better. So I was looking on the map to see where Needles was. Was this called the Kingman crash, or was this another one?
No, that was another incident, Paul.
Yeah, okay, because it's pretty close to the same location by the looks of that map there, because it says Kingham there.
Yeah, that was much earlier. You know, I think the Kingman incident was. I think that was in the 40s. You know,
And then you got Mojave
and
National Park.
there was absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever. To be honest,
Well, it's next to two deserts, really, or
just
three deserts. So
just one dodgy witness.
It's all surrounded by desert here, so it's a good place to crash.
Mm-hmm.
And the whatnots. Let's just bring up the satellite.
Good place to go testing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you can see how rocky terrain. And even if you crash and survive, you probably won't last long in that, unless you're near a city with water. So yeah, and it's a good place to hide something as well from outer space, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. Well, should we say, hospitable kind of terrain, is it?
No.
It's quite ruthless.
If a UFO crashed, you could bury it and it would be hidden in plain sight. So I tried to look for some images from this, and the only thing I got was sort of like nap thing popping up here. And
yeah, George Knox did cover this case quite well.
Yeah, there wasn't much of graphics or anything, so let's see if the reader works. Well, it should do. It's built into the browser. CPU's hitting around about 84% at the moment, so it's sort of stabilized a bit.
The Needles UFO crash. What really happened May 14th, 2008?
Okay. Can it carry on? How do we get the thing popped down again? Well, it looks like it disappeared on us.
Yeah, don't do too much in one go, Paul.
Didn't look like much.
No, it's fine.
The Needles UFO crash. What really happened? On May 14th, 2008, an oval object with a turquoise glow fell out of the sky around 3 o'clock in the morning and crashed west of the Colorado River near Needles, California. The crash was almost immediately followed by the appearance of unmarked vehicles with government license plates manned by non-uniformed personnel, a small fleet of transport aircrafts and helicopters, including a sky crane which later removed the object. Like many incidents of this kind, this one quickly became a non-event. So what really happened? It's important to understand that the object in question has been seen in the Needles area before and elsewhere as well. An object described as oval-shaped with a turquoise glow was spotted by a motorist traveling just west of Needles on I-40 on April 17, 2002 at around 3:30 in the morning. During that incident, the object hovered above the road in midair. Another sighting occurred in 1997 near Columbus, Ohio. A photographer was filming clouds when a glowing object described as turquoise in color appeared on several of the frames that were photographed. The object wasn't seen through the camera lens at the time the photos were taken. Needles, California, is located in the Mojave Valley and is a part of San Bernardino County. It's just across the bridge from Arizona and near the Nevada border as well. Historic Route 66 and I-40 run through the town, with a population of between 5,000 and 6,000 people. Originally named for a group of pointed rocks on the Arizona side of the Colorado River, Needles was founded in 1883 and has been an important stopping place for people traveling east to west into California ever since. It's also the kind of place where the crash of something strange might go unnoticed if it occurred outside of town. Fortunately, this crash had witnesses. The first witness...
Yeah. That was close to stopping anyway. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the turquoise glow, that's one thing that kind of makes me think that it was something a little unusual. But we'll go into the witnesses soon. Some of them were saying it was changing colour from turquoise to green to blue and back again. You know, so it was kind of odd. Yeah, but please carry on.
Is that your voice crackling, or was it the machine crackling here? You got a croaky voice, have you?
I think you've got a croaky voice, yeah.
I think that sounds all right here in the mixer now.
Okay.
I thought, geez, what's happening to the sound? It's gone crackly. Yeah, carry on. That's like a bluey green colour, isn't it? So we've had some other reports of that sort of UFO sighting in other cases, I believe. I can't remember what the names were now, but we'll just carry on. Most of them tend to be orange, don't they? Orange or white.
Witness to the May 14th, 2008 incident was a person we'll call Bob. He lives on a houseboat in Topeka, Arizona, a town that is little more than a marina and a couple of stores near Golden Shores. Bob reported seeing a glowing turquoise blue-green object high in the sky and headed in his direction around 3 o'clock in the morning. He was sitting on the upper deck of his houseboat at the time. As it passed, he said that it looked as though the thing was on fire. He saw the object hit the ground somewhere west of the Colorado River on the California side. It bounced once and he recalled hearing a noise like a thump. Thinking that some kind of plane had crashed, Bob tried using his satellite phone to call 911. His phone would not connect. After the crash, Bob heard the sound of helicopters approaching and reported seeing 5 of them flying in formation less than 20 minutes after the object hit the ground. One of them circled his houseboat before rejoining the others. Another was a sky crane that retrieved the oval-shaped object while it was still glowing with some kind of cables or a net and flew away with it. The crash occurred between Topeka and Needles, west of the Colorado River and south of Needles.
Oh, is that the end of it? Oh no, it's just we stopped. Just stopped.
Yeah.
Colorado River and south of Needles. Where was that on the map? I don't see a river.
Yeah, go on and look for the map if you like.
Where's the river? I can't see it. Is that all in there? Colorado. Come on. Why can't I see a river? Maybe it's dried up. Oh, what's that say? That looks like a river, doesn't it? A lake. National Wildlife Refuge. What's that say there? Goose Lake. Where's the red thing gone? Oh, there it is. So, so he said it was on fire. So if it's on fire, wouldn't it be orange, not a bluey green colour?
There was no explosion reported. So did it crash? Did it land? That's the question. And of course, the biggest question of all. Was it ET or was it something top secret? And don't forget, it wasn't too far away from Nevada and Area 51, so we have to be a little bit suspicious on this case as being alien. But who better to consult than UFO crash retrieval expert himself, Kevin.
Kevin Randall.
You got it.
Okay, where's the link?
Here's the link.
So yeah, put up Colorado River on the map here. So it's obviously between this location here then.
You got it.
So that was the river and lakes, or whatever they call it there. Well, if you're going to come down and crash with like some reverse technology, say a flying saucer or Black Ops project,
thing is,
crashing into a river would make sense, you know. To bring it down near a lake or something would make sense.
What disturbs me is the recovery team was there in 17 minutes.
Oh, we didn't finish with that last page, though, did we?
Oh, I hope you did.
No, we didn't. We got down to here.
Oh, yeah, well, you got to do that first.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we needed to stop there or not. South of the river. So we got down to here, and for some reason the reader stopped. So if I select the whole page, we can pause it as we go. For some reason it seemed to stop and go back to the top again. It's not perfect, but it's better than the last one.
Frank Costigan lives 3 miles east of the Colorado River and became the second witness to the May 14, 2008 incident. He got up around 3 in the morning to let his cat out. While standing in his backyard, Frank noticed a large glowing object streaking across the sky. It flashed a number of colors including turquoise, blue and green. The object was headed towards the ground, and he expected to hear some sort of impact noise. Costigan later offered this statement. "I thought I might hear something when it hit the ground, because if it was as close as I thought it was and as big as it was, I thought I would hear something. But I did not hear anything. And it went out of my view before it hit the ground. It went behind a hill, and I waited to see if I could hear it crash, because as big as it was bound to make noise." Costigan reported that the object was bright enough to illuminate the ground. He said that it came out of the northeast, headed southwest at a tremendous speed, slowed down, and speeded up again before moving out of his sight. Frank is a retired superintendent of operations and police chief. He worked at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, from 1978 until 1985, and at Ontario, California, International Airport from 1985 to 1986. He occasionally does special reports and news investigations for KTOX, an AM radio station in Needles, California. Frank later told David Hayes, the station owner, about the bizarre object he saw earlier that morning. Hayes surprised Costigan with his own strange story. While driving on I-40 on his way to work that morning, Hayes saw a small convoy of darkly painted vehicles exiting the highway. The vehicles had black and white government license plates. The lead truck looked a bit like a very large SUV with a dome on top, a truck bed, and appeared to have 4-wheel drive. The vehicle may have been carrying a remote-controlled drone. Hayes said that he could see a triangular object that sat on top of several small humps in the truck bed, and that it reminded him of the look of a stealth bomber.
Stop it here, Paul.
Yeah, that sounds almost like a stealth plane, though, doesn't it? Triangle shape.
Yeah, it kind of does at this point, doesn't it? But they were somehow tracking it in one way or another, because the response team was there in like 17 minutes. That was crazy. So the only thing is that those changing colours, and I'm not really sure what that's all about.
Could be some sort of energy field they're trying on the skin of the craft to make it go hypersonic. We've heard of quansi crystals. So it sounds very much like these pictures that we've seen on Secure Team and other channels. Plug in as a UFO. Yeah. But we do know that one of these...
Footage, you know.
Yeah, we do know that some of these were actually a transported B... Or was it X-37 or something like that on the back of a truck. It had a cover on it. I think it was this one here. It's got that shape. It's got that shape of thing. It was around Area 51 too, you see. But yeah, there's a lot of these type of images. You see stuff on the back of trucks. Turns out to be regular tanks and stuff like that. But there is occasionally some stealth planes on the back of truck that look really UFO-like.
Well, this was actually helicopter lifted, Paul.
Yeah. Apart from those first images, I'm not getting the other ones.
No question something crashed. What we need to establish is whether it was, well, you know, whether it was ET or was it ours.
Let's see. Is it a B2? B2 on the truck? Let's have a look. No, it hasn't come up. B2 stealth. That's a B2. It wasn't that one. Oh, here we go. It was a smaller version of one of those. I think it was the X. It's called X something, maybe. X37 or 38. I can't remember exact number.
Yeah. Well, I'm not entirely sure why it'd be glowing different colours like that, but who knows?
It's not popping up. But anyway, carry on.
Yep.
A dark green van followed behind the first vehicle, and a longer van followed the green one. Hayes told Costigan that he could see men inside the trucks. They did not have military uniforms on, but after he made eye contact with the driver of the third vehicle, it followed him to the radio station. One of the trucks returned later that day and briefly parked outside the KTOX building. It seemed to be involved in some sort of surveillance of the radio station. Hayes and Costigan reported the strange events that occurred on May 14, 2008 during regular programming at KTOX for days and asked for any other witnesses to come forward. That's how they obtained the story from Bob, and he wasn't the only person to call in. Someone known to them from nearby Laughlin, Nevada, phoned to report that Janet planes were taking off and landing at the Laughlin airport all night on the date that the crash occurred. Because the airport and control tower were closed at the time, Laughlin airport personnel cannot confirm the presence of the Janet planes on the night in question. Janet planes are the nickname some have given to the aircrafts that fly workers in and out of Area 51. A small terminal exists at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas for the mysterious airline operated by ENG, a U.S. government contractor. Large and smaller passenger jets and a few prop planes ferry workers to Groom Lake in Area 51 and the Tonopah Test Range, but there is no reason to expect that such aircraft would land in Laughlin. Because the airport and control tower were closed at the time, Laughlin airport personnel cannot confirm the presence of the Janet planes on the night in question. Strange things continued to happen in the Needles area after the crash. No one seems able to locate Bob, and many believe he has left the area. Tony Sagan, a member of the River Valley Democratic Club in the area, was questioned by a stranger at a club meeting after she appeared on the radio station to talk about the 2008 presidential race. The man wanted to know if she heard any off-air conversations between David Hayes and a witness to the crash he had on the phone. Tony said that she had never seen the man before, and that he seemed out of place in terms of the way he dressed as compared to most people that live in the area. Although a public shows that at least one military helicopter was in the area on the night of the crash, there are no police, emergency, military, or government agencies willing to offer any comments on the incident. Noted journalist George Knapp and members of the Channel 8, CBS network TV affiliate in Las Vegas, investigative team say they have contacted police agencies in 3 states, the Laughlin Airport, the Weather Service, the FAA, and several military bases, asking for any kind of statement about the incident. All of them claim they know nothing about the crash. Based on the description of the object and the circumstances surrounding its retrieval, it is doubtful that the thing was a meteorite. It could have been space junk, but the fact that it changed speed and seemed under some kind of intelligent control makes that unlikely. It's possible that the object could have been some type of experimental U.S. aircraft, but given the descriptions that have been offered, it seems to be a bit beyond what even the best secret aircraft prognosticators have predicted we currently have available. 2 possibilities remain that might explain what happened in the Needles area on May 14, 2008. One is that a UFO or spacecraft of unknown origin was tracked by government authorities to the point where it made contact with the Earth. With retrieval teams standing by, the object was quickly removed from the area, and any necessary cleanup was accomplished without much notice. The other is that a UFO or spacecraft of unknown origin was being test-flown by a human pilot from Area 51 and simply malfunctioned, causing the subsequent actions. Author Bill Nell is a popular paranormal author, speaker, and consultant. Author's website, ufoguy.com, no longer active. Terms to use article. Permission is granted to use this article for free online or in print with inclusion of the author.
Oh, that's right. We're okay. That's what we've done. He's got his article published.
So we've got the basics of what happened here. The witnesses are quite interesting.
So was it called Janet though? Janet flights.
The Janet flights. It was a nickname, and I don't know what's behind that. But there's no doubt they exist. I mean, there's been plenty of film. Yeah, have a look at it if you want.
Well, that's these planes.
Yeah, it's the red and white.
We want to find out the description for it, so let's have a look. Probably named after a president or something, is it? Sometimes called Janet Airlines. Is an unofficial name given to highly... Well, I wonder if we can get it to read out.
But they're just the airplanes that are taking the people.
From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Janet. IATA. ICAO.
Where's it going? Going down the side.
WW. Janet.
Yeah, I thought that's where you got to use this little book icon, I think, and that solves that problem. Gets rid of all the other junk, and then you can click on here.
Janet Airline. Janet, sometimes called Janet Airlines, is the unofficial name given to a highly classified fleet of passenger aircraft operated for the United States Department of the Air Force, One, as an employee shuttle to transport military and contractor employees. The purpose is to pick up the employees at their home airport and take them to their place of work.
Yeah, but was it called Janet?
Then, in the afternoon, they take the employees back to their home airports. The airline mainly serves the Nevada National Security Site, most notably Area 51, and the Tonopah Test Range, from a private terminal at Las Vegas's McCarran International Airport 2. The airline's aircraft are generally unmarked, but do have a red paint strip along the windows of the aircraft, which gives some sort of hint at Janet being the operator. History, edit. The fleet's Janet call sign is said to stand for either just another non-existent terminal, 3, 4, or Joint Air Network for Employee Transportation. 5. After the October 2017 Las Vegas shooting massacre, news surfaced that the shooter, in addition to firing at concertgoers, had also targeted aviation fuel tanks at nearby McCarran International Airport. Further reporting by the New York Post suggested a possible connection between the vulnerable fuel tanks and a classified Janet operation. 6. A Janet Boeing 737-66N in front of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. A Janet Boeing 737-600.
Okay, so there should be a picture there, but it's got rid of the pictures. So yeah, 2 options there for the name. Just another non-existent terminal. That's a bit of a mouthful.
It's just transport for the employees.
Joint Air Network for Employee Transportation. That one sounds a wee bit better. It sounds more official. So the first letter's all spelled Janet, which kind of would make more sense. But there we go. We got a wee bit of history lesson there.
Yeah. Learned something myself there.
You'll probably forget it though. It's quite a big, long description.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're going on to Randall's now, or you want to talk about something before we do?
Well, it was George Knapp, wasn't it, who covered this in detail?
Who?
And there's actual coverage out there. George Knapp.
Oh, right, yep.
Yeah, well-known journalist.
Right, yeah.
Well,
I think I used to like him, but I've sort of gone off him.
Well, you have to recall now that he done a great deal for ufology in a way. He was one of the people who was willing to cover the subject when other mainstream journalists were not. So, but I think he fell into a little bit of a trap with Corbell and Corbell, and of course,
his name is Bob,
the great hoaxer of all time. Well, I think he is anyway.
Another Bob. There seems to be a lot of Bobs in ufology.
Yeah, but Lazar seems to divide opinion in the UFO field, doesn't he? I mean, it's like half believe him and half that doesn't, and oh Jesus, people get into fights over whether his story is correct or not. But I try and look for evidence in any case, and I can't see any in Lazar's case.
Well, they claim that he got raided by, was it FBI or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
And they took all the paperwork of his identification and his qualifications and all that. Is that likely to happen? I don't know. Would they get all copies of everything? Because normally when you get qualifications, you normally duplicate it off, and you normally sometimes have to send it out with a CV because they don't believe that you got it or whatever. Because there's a lot of fake sites that can print off certificates, especially in India. We had a few of those at university when I was working there. They always have to do background checks and things. But
almost certainly they raided this place for thallium poisoning. That's what they were looking for. Thallium.
Yeah, but that was way after the George Knapp initial contact business.
No, but George Knapp was actually part of that story, and on Corbell's documentary, he kind of went along with that. Yeah, it was one of geez, I don't really want to talk about that incident. I think it's an absolute.
We can say that there's some truth in Bob Lazar's story, and some that doesn't really add up.
That's all we can really say. Yeah, there could be, but there's not one.
I think he did work. I think he did work there. I think he did work there, but as what capacity is unknown, and whether he actually did work on the UFO is yet to be seen, if that's really true. Some people remember seeing him there and whatnot, and he's in phone book and all that sort of stuff, but so would a janitor or electrician on site, to fix light bulbs and stuff. So yeah, one day we might find out the truth. He may have been they may have picked on him to use as disinformation, right, to throw people off what they were doing there. Let's say it's aliens, but when it's actually government secret planes, and the Russians will pick up on that and think, oh yeah, it's just disinformation. But they won't be too sure or not. They'll probably want to spot, they'll be spying on each other. So, different perspective. This probably have to go down here.
I think this sums it up quite well.
We'll give it a try with the regular reader first to see if it goes right. I've got to read that bit first.
Needles UFO crash May 14, 2008. At the 6th Annual UFO Crash Retrieval Conference in Las Vegas, registration area seen here, George Knapp told of a UFO crash along the Colorado River near Needles, California on May 14, 2008. Make no mistake here. There was a UFO crash, but also remember that UFO doesn't necessarily translate into extraterrestrial.
Okay. Now you can select the rest of it, hopefully. And we'll give that a try.
Posted by K. Randall at 6:31 a.m.
Hey, what's happened there? That was strange. We might have to use the book thing after all. Right.
A different perspective.
No, okay.
A commentary on Friday. Needles UFO at the 6th Annual Knapp. Labels, George Knapp.
Yes.
Labels, George.
This is not working. Okay, we'll just go to the book thing. That solves it normally. So where did we get down to? Have we missed anything there?
Yeah, just start from the beginning. It's always a good place.
Audience during his keynote address that he had.
What's going on there? Okay, let's try
Needles UFO crash May 14, 2008. At the 6th Annual UFO Crash Retrieval Conference in Las Vegas, registration area seen here, George Knapp told of a UFO crash along the Colorado River near Needles, California on May 14, 2008. Make no mistake here. There was a UFO crash, but also remember that UFO doesn't necessarily translate into extraterrestrial. Knapp told the audience during his keynote address that he had investigated the case from the beginning, talked to the witnesses, and learned that 5 helicopters had flown into the area within minutes of the crash. Something real had happened. According to witnesses, about 3 in the morning, a cylinder-shaped object with a turquoise glow fell out of the sky and crashed west of the Colorado River. A witness, known as Bob on the river, because he lives on a houseboat, and they bob in the water as they float, and who lives in Topeka, Arizona, said that he had seen the object as it flew over. He thought it was on fire. He didn't see it hit the ground, given the terrain, but he did hear it.
So we heard that already.
He told Knapp that it smacked into the sand. Bob tried to call for help, but his satellite phone wouldn't work. Not long after the crash, however, he heard the pulsating beat of rotor blades and saw 5 helicopters in a loose formation heading toward the crash site. One of them broke off to circle his houseboat, and then rejoined the others. These might have been Hueys, though it seems that the name applied to many helicopters.
Hueys, I think.
I suspect that they were Black Hawks, but no matter. The helicopters located the wreck, and according to Bob on the river, the 5th helicopter known as a sky crane retrieved the object. Although unseen by any of the witnesses, some of the helicopters had to land so that the object, whatever it was, could be rigged for lifting. Bob said that the object, still glowing, was airlifted from the site and carried away. All the helicopters went with it. Had Bob on the river been the lone witness, we might have been able to dismiss his story as the musings of a loner who lived on a houseboat. This is not to mention that not long after this happened, Bob disappeared. Frank Costigan, once the chief of airport security at the Los Angeles airport, and a retired police chief, and a man who would seem to be more credible than Bob, said that he had seen the object when he got up at 3 to let out his cat. He said that he knew the object was not a meteorite, because it seemed to change speed. According to Costigan, it was bright enough to have illuminated the ground. It disappeared behind some hills and didn't reappear. Clearly it was down. In a bizarre incident, David Hayes, the owner of KTOX Radio in Needles, said that on his way to work he saw a strange assortment of odd vehicles getting off the highway. He produced a rough drawing that he showed to George Knapp, seen here. This seemed to be a Men in Black sighting. There were all sorts of other, seemingly related events. According to what Knapp learned, out of the blue the station got a call from a friend in Laughlin, also on the Colorado River, who said the Laughlin airport had been inundated on the night of the crash with so-called Janet planes. That's the airline that flies workers to top-secret Area 51. Costigan says the airport could not confirm this because no one is on duty after 6 p.m., not even the tower. Knapp continued, the black vehicles have left Needles. Bob the houseboat guy can't be found either. The point is, something definitely happened. Knapp, of course, continued the investigation. He learned that the vehicles, sometimes black, were often seen in the Needles area, and he, along with his camera crew, were able to spot and photograph them. Knapp said that he joined in the formation as it drove down the road. One of the vehicles eventually pulled over, and Knapp did same thing. There was an encounter with the crew, who were armed and who suggested they were federal agents. One of them flashed an ID at Knapp, who said that he hadn't gotten a good look at it, and was shown it again. Eventually the confrontation, if that's what it was, ended and everyone went on their own way. Later Knapp received a call from a friend with the Department of Energy, who told Knapp he was lucky that the confrontation ended as peacefully as it did. Knapp would learn that these agents, black vehicles and all, had nothing to do with the UFO crash, if that's what it was, but with a very real and security-wrapped federal mission. Knapp would be the first reporter allowed to see the training of the agents. These dark vehicles, often on the roads around Needles, had nothing to do with the object's crash. So, one mystery solved, but what happened to Bob on the river? Knapp eventually found him and talked to him at length about what he had seen. Bob on the river couldn't add much to the descriptions that others had, or rather, he had given to others. The object struck with a thud, like something smacking into sand. Knapp said, at the crash retrieval conference, that he knew Bob's real name, and even showed us video of the interviews that hadn't aired on Las Vegas television. Bob told a solid story, and his somewhat unorthodox lifestyle didn't play into it. Bob on the river had seen something fall out of the sky. Knapp, in his presentation.
Yep.
Does sound odd, doesn't it?
Mm.
But, I mean, this isn't 1947, though. I mean, this is 2008. You know, we don't really know what kind of tech they were playing with at that time. Oh, have you lost track of that?
No, I was looking for that picture that they're talking about, but there was no picture of the drawing of the vehicles. It said it was C here. I'm just seeing where that link was, because it's not here. Just got a picture of Knapp, that's all. It's kind of weird, isn't it? I don't think it was that far down, was it? So you want us to keep on going, do you?
Yeah.
Seems not much on that page there. Did we actually read all that already?
Presentation made it clear the helicopters had been on the scene in less than 20 minutes, and that meant that someone, somewhere, had been monitoring the progress of the object. Someone, somewhere knew what it was. Knapp gave the impression that he didn't believe it to be of extraterrestrial origin. The next day, meaning the next day after Knapp's presentation, and not the next day after the crash, I had a chance to talk to Knapp about this. He told me that he believed, based on what he had seen and learned, that the object was an experimental craft that had failed. The helicopters got there too fast for anything else.
What I would say.
In the end, there are two solutions to this. One is the extraterrestrial, but that seems to be the least likely. The other is that this was an experimental object, probably some sort of advanced unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, belonging to the US government. They retrieved it before anyone in Needles or Topak got a good look at it. At the moment, that is the explanation that I prefer.
It kind of sounds like around about the time of the Nimitz incident, wasn't it? 4 years after, so...
But I'll tell you one significant thing about this, Paul. Yeah, it's how quickly they can get to an object and retrieve it.
Especially in that rocky terrain.
Yeah.
But that's why they needed helicopters, you see.
There was only a few eyewitnesses to the actual object. Many seen the comings and goings of these government officials and what have you, the cleaner population. But I don't know.
I think it may have missed quite a lot on this page, though. Is it all there?
Well,
let me see.
I hope not.
I'm just trying to compare it. I don't remember, of course, continued. Yeah, okay, we read that much.
Okay.
Nap said, I suppose it's all there. The mystery solved. So one mystery solved. What was that one? Needles had nothing to do with the crash. One mystery solved. Did we read that bit? Yeah, it was there on that page, so I must have read it. Just seemed to go very fast to me.
I got in touch with Earl as well about this because Earl is from California. And he's the chief investigator for South California, isn't he?
It's all there.
And basically he said, it's a maybe. A maybe, but he wouldn't put dollar on it. Which is my stance, to be honest.
So where's that bit where it talked about, here's a picture of what he drew. Whereabouts was that? Can't see the link now. But it's definitely no drawing on the page there. It's got a picture of Nap. It's got the other pictures there. Men in Black. I can't see the link anymore.
Waste time, I wouldn't waste time, Paul.
Black vehicles. Was it round about here? Whereabouts was it? Well, you'd think it'd be obvious, but I can't see it anymore. A link. It said click on the link to see the picture. Or something like that. Well, I just can't see it now. I thought it was by itself in a bracket. The Men in Black have taken away again.
Hey, listen, it's not a concern.
Oh, here we go. It's seen here.
Yeah.
So let's click on that.
Don't read it out yet. I think with this case, Paul, before we go any further, I think with this case, this is definitely an incident where they've messed about with something. It's gone wrong. They've been tracking the damn thing. It's come down because any black project is normally escorted. Yeah, that's how they got there so quick. 17 minutes, apparently. So that's what I think this is leading to. I don't think it's alien at all. I don't know for a fact. I can't be sure. But as Randall says there at the end of the statement, it's more than likely leaning towards something black budget. But it's 2008. It's top end. But then again, you don't know. It's 220 now, or 2020, whatever. And we still don't know for an absolute fact what it was. They should have been able to tell us by now. That's 12 years old technology.
Yeah. I can't see the link here. Anyway, stupid. So where are we going to from Kendall's report here? Or is this one done with now?
Yeah, we can do with that, but conclusions. So conclusions. Right, okay. I've invented my own little scale. It's called the Farmer Factometer
Oh,
Index. By the way. Well, that's my name. Then I invented it. Yeah. So
Farmer
on a 1
F.
to 5, the Farmer Factometer Index, right? And we're going to measure it in sheep. Yeah? Now, 1 being terrestrial, 5 sheep being ET. So, what's your conclusion?
I think this was I think it was a plane that they sent from Area 51 that went wrong and they had to pick it up.
Oh, that's not good. Is it 1 sheep or 2 sheep? Or you can go 1.5 sheep if you like.
Well, 2 sheep maybe, is it?
2 sheep. Damn you, Paul. You stole my lines. I was going to go 2 sheep as well. Well, not now. Just to spite you, I'm going to go 2.2 sheep. Because we can do points as well. Yeah, we can do that.
What do other people think? Have any sheep? Why sheep?
How many sheep?
You got a lot of sheep in Wales.
For God's sakes, we live in Wales, man.
Oh, you're not saying we're Kiwi sheep then?
Well, I'm not going to say what we do to the sheep because we sell them all over the world. It wouldn't be good with
it. Cat lasers for this one. Yeah, it's quite an interesting story though.
That's funny.
2.5 sheep.
Nah, 2.2 I went.
2.2.
I was going to go 2, but you stole it.
Yeah. I won't call it the Robert Factometer, whatever you called it.
No.
But some other F word.
No, it's the Farmer Factometer.
We got Susan Anata, and we now got that. So what next?
God knows.
Okay, you reckon it's not a cover-up?
Nah, yeah, it's a cover-up. There's a cover-up, but I don't think it was ET. I think that was experimental craft all day.
Yeah, so that one's probably busted, or maybe debunked, until we can get access. Unless we get access to those top secret files that everybody wants to get access to without the whiteout or the blackout. So yeah, on to the next case, I guess. What do we got?
Sure thing. Oh no. Things are about to get horny.
What's Charles having to say here? Followed it on radar. Do you think it was shot down? Well, it could have gone to the edge of space, right? And come back on re-entry, right? And it had problem. Maybe that's why it was glowing, right? Because it was super hot as it was coming down. Probably some new skin that is like shuttle tiles, maybe withstands all that heat. But yeah, that sighting on the truck sort of suggested as a stealth type plane. That one witness sighting, so who knows? Yeah,
there's another thing there. It just shows you how quickly they could cover something up, you know?
Mm.
I think they'd be a little bit screwed if it happened to land in a city, that great big UFO landed in a city with aliens. I think they're going to be a little bit done in there. But, if it lands in remote places, 17 minutes response time. Wow. That's going some, isn't it?
Ah, farmer. So, what are you going to post for the next story? What's the next one? I forgot.
Wow, this is all Ken's fault. It's got nothing to do with me. All Ken's fault.
What was the location? Ken, Brazil, was it?
Yeah, it's Brazil.
Hopefully we've got a more friendly webpage. It looks like it's
I know.
Straight down.
I've tried to pick them as carefully as I can.
So location was Villas, was it? Or was that the guy's name? Yeah, this one seems to ring a bell. Didn't we touch on this before at the end of 11 live stream?
Villas Boas. Yes, it was 1957, and this was actually 4 years before Betty and Barney Hill abduction.
Right, I kind of recall it now.
And it's not just an abduction. We've got a case of electrical interference here, or engine interference, which is quite unusual at that time, because there's absolutely no way they've known anything about that over there to make up the story. So we shall see.
Was it Argentina?
No, it's
Brazil.
Brazil. I don't think the exact location is too important, Paul.
I'm not seeing anything that's coming up. Pick top ones here. It goes. Campsite. Where the hell's that? I don't think that was it, was it? Maybe it was. Yeah, that was a location, wasn't it? Let's see, is it Brazil? Come on.
It sure is.
Seems to be a lot of forest there, so that might be in South America. There we go. Where is it? State of NATO. Chile, Brazil. Is it? Is that the right location?
Brazil is the big one. I don't know where the hell you're going. Brazil's the big one. You can't exactly miss it.
Well, it's on the edge, on the border almost. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, it's definitely very green there. Opposed to this area over here, which is very desert.
Yeah, the actual location was...
It's very slow, sluggish.
São Francisco de Salas. The Salas, Brazil, yeah. That's the exact location. So good luck with finding that.
Well, it reckons it was here. But yeah, the map's very sluggish because of the CPU hitting 100%. It's very annoying. So somewhere around there, I suppose, is what they mean. So let's carry on. It is very sluggish though, Brazil. Well, let's just select that top bit and go from there.
Yeah.
See what happens. There we go. Is it thinking? What happened to it? Oh dear. Do we need to worry about the pictures? The pictures are actually quite good on this one. It didn't want to go. It's never ever perfect, is it? There we go.
In Brazil during the 1950s worldwide UFO flap comes a report of one of the most bizarre accounts on record, the seduction of Antonio Vilas Boas. At the time of his alleged abduction, Antonio Vilas Boas was a 23-year-old Brazilian farmer who was working at night to avoid the hot temperatures of the day. On October 16, 1957, he was plowing fields near São Francisco de Sales when he saw what he described as a red star in the night sky. According to his story, this star approached his position, growing in size until it became recognizable as a roughly circular or egg-shaped aerial craft, with a red light at its front and a rotating cupola on top. The craft began descending to land in the field, extending 3 legs as it did so. At that point, Boas decided to run from the scene. According to Boas, he first attempted to leave the scene on his tractor, but when its lights and engine died after traveling only a short distance, he decided to continue on foot. However, he was seized by a 1.5 m, 5-foot, tall humanoid, who was wearing gray coveralls and a helmet.
1.5 meters.
Its eyes were small and blue, and instead of speech it made noises like barks or yelps.
Stop it at the end of this
3
one,
similar
Paul.
beings then joined the first in subduing Boas,
anyway.
and they dragged him inside their craft. Antonio Vilas Boas is located in Brazil.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit of commentary there. Good engine interference, and
Yeah.
this was before Leveland. Just a little bit before, I believe. So how can a guy in Brazil know what was happening in the United States? Leveland,
Newspapers?
Texas. Oh, maybe so. Maybe so. But the guy didn't make a penny from this incident, you know. Why would he need to fake it? It didn't do his career any good, did it? The guy went on to become a lawyer, and he was a highly respected man. So I don't think we can just throw him in the bin that easily. His story is so bizarre that why would you make something like that up? I don't know. You tell me. And I've taken other accounts that are similar.
Yeah, so Ken's given us a exact location here.
Okay.
So let's see how close it is to this one. See, state of Brazil. Okay, so how far were we out? Quite a bit by the looks of it, is it? No, not too far away. So it's over this way, closer in towards the desert region. Oh, that's in middle of Brazil there, really, isn't it? So it was 6 hours out from where we were. Right. So we went from here to over here, so we went closer that way. So yeah. So what is down at that location there? It looks very forestry, you know, forests. We've got a river, is it? Ah, you see there's a lot of UFO crashes near rivers and lakes, you see. Then, it wasn't a USO then, because that looks like a good place to hide if you're going to come down. Explore the jungle or whatever, hide in the river rather than being visual range, right? So carry on, or do you want to say something else?
Sure.
I might have to sleep.
But
Brazil once
Yep. Just carry on. You're talking over it.
Once inside the craft, Boas said that he was stripped of his clothes and covered from head to toe with a strange gel. He was then led into a large semicircular room, through a doorway that had strange red symbols written over it. Boas claimed that he was able to memorize these symbols and later reproduced them for investigators. In this room the beings took samples of Boas' blood from his chin. After this he was then taken to a third room, and left alone for around half an hour. During this time, some kind of gas was pumped into the room, which made Boas become violently ill.
Okay, got down to there, did it? Violently ill. I wonder if there's a way to say carry on from where you left off.
Oh, Paul, we should sort this damn breed out.
Must be a way to get the toolbar up.
In Brazil during the 1950s worldwide UFO flap comes a report of one of the... While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, his...
Yeah, it's messing up now.
His strange encounters began 10 days early.
No. Violently ill. Shortly after. Let's do one paragraph at a time. It's got to... Well, it hasn't come up there. It's kind of strange. Why? Oh, maybe because it's already open.
In Brazil during the 1950s worldwide UFO... While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th.
It skips. Okay, I was just going to look at the drawings here anyway. Is there anything there we need to look at? Or let's just open it up in a separate tab and use the other option. Where's the book icon? There it is. That should fix it. So it's come up with the pictures still. That's right. So we'll just try it from here then. Where's the thing? Oh, right, there we go. Pop down.
Famous alien abduction of Antonio Villas Boas.
Oh,
in Brazil during the 1950s.
Yeah,
story.
well.
This star approached his position, growing. Boas said, the light kept still. Comments powered by.
No, it's
Submit
got some,
news.
Got something going crazy.
The actual abduction occurred on the.
No,
while the.
It's screwing up. Well,
mate, just select it and play it. Simple as.
That's what I'm trying to do,
Don't make
mate.
it complicated.
I'm not making it complicated. That's what I'm selecting.
After this, he was then taken to a third room and left alone for around
What?
On October 16th, 1956.
I don't know where it's gone.
Famous alien abduction of Antonio Villas Boas.
Oh, well, just
alien
let it
female
carry
seduction. In Brazil, during the 1950s worldwide UFO flap comes a report of one of the most bizarre accounts on record. The seduction of Antonio Villas Boas.
It was going good until you said
pause. At the time of his
it.
alleged abduction, Antonio Villas Boas was a 23-year-old Brazilian farmer who was working at night to avoid the hot temperatures of the day. On October 16, 1957, he was plowing fields near São Francisco de Sales when he saw what he described as a red star in the night sky. According to his story, this star approached his position, growing in size until it became recognizable as a roughly circular or egg-shaped aerial craft, with a red light at its front and a rotating cupola on top. The craft began descending to land in the field, extending 3 legs as it did so. At that point, Boas decided to run from the scene. According to Boas, he first attempted to leave the scene on his tractor, but when its lights and engine died after traveling only a short distance, he decided to continue on foot. However, he was seized by a 1.5 m, 5-foot, tall humanoid, who was wearing gray coveralls and a helmet. Its eyes were small and blue, and instead of speech it made noises like barks or yelps. 3 similar beings then joined the first in subduing Boas, and they dragged him inside their craft. Antonio Villas Boas is located in Brazil. Once inside the craft, Boas said that he was stripped of his clothes and covered from head to toe with a strange gel. He was then led into a large semicircular room, through a doorway, that had strange red symbols written over it. Boas claimed that he was able to memorize these symbols, and later reproduced them for investigators. In this room the beings took samples of Boas' blood from his chin. After this he was then taken to a third room, and left alone for around half an hour. During this time, some kind of gas was pumped into the room, which made Boas become violently ill. Shortly after this, Boas claimed that he was joined in the room by another humanoid. This one, however, was female, very attractive, and naked. She was the same height as the other beings he had encountered, with a small, pointed chin and large, blue cat-like eyes. The hair on her head was long and white, somewhat like platinum blonde, but her underarm and pubic hair were bright red. Boas said he was strongly attracted to the woman. And the two had sexual intercourse. During this act, Boas noted that the female did not kiss him, but instead nipped him on the chin. When it was all over, the female smiled at Boas, rubbing her belly and gestured upwards. Boas took this to mean that she was going to raise their child in space. The female seemed relieved that their task was over, and Boas himself said that he felt angered by the situation, because he felt as though he had been little more than a good stallion for the humanoids. Boas said that he was then given back his clothing and taken on a tour of the ship by the humanoids. During this tour he said that he attempted to take a clock-like device as proof of his encounter, but was caught by the humanoids and prevented from doing so. He was then escorted off the ship and watched as it took off, glowing brightly. When Boas returned home, he discovered that 4 hours had passed. Antonio Vilas Boas later became a lawyer, married, and had 4 children. He died in 1992, and stuck to the story of his alleged abduction for his entire life. While the actual abduction...
Okay. So, these are the beings. They look similar to... What's that woman? Betty Andreas, or whatever her name was.
What?
Was it Andreas? The men with the boots.
Oh, the Andreas affair. Okay, that was another abduction story. That's an interesting one as well. But I'm not really sure. But I'm telling you what, mate, you couldn't make a story like this up, could you?
Well, I don't know. I think I could.
You reckon? And why would you do it? Tell me why you would make a story like that up, pal. Give me one reason why you'd do that.
Well, it depends what the motive was and what he got attention from after. When he got part of the story.
That's when he had the potential career as a lawyer, which he became, and he wants to make a story up like this, having sex with an alien. Do you think that was a good idea? It's not the best career move, is it? So, yeah.
There's some symbols over the door, which looks like squiggles.
Which many people have said, like Doswell, Rendlesham, and others.
Are we allowed to have that drawing on the screen? I suppose we're adult only. So it kind of looks like a Nordic, but mixture of blonde and red. It's kind of strange. So I wonder if it will resume from where we left off. Here we go.
Abduction occurred on the 15th.
Yay.
His strange encounters began 10 days earlier. A little after 11 p.m. on October 5th, Boas spotted a bright white light in the sky as he opened the window to get some air. Later that night, after sleeping for a while, Boas awoke and looked again to find the same light still there, moving toward him as he looked at it. Frightened, he slammed the shutters, waking his brother, who watched with some astonishment as the bright light played through the shutters a while before leaving. Boas lived on his family's farm. They had several fields and plantations, which they farmed at night to beat the heat in the daytime. On the 14th, around 9 to 10 p.m., Boas, again with his brother, were out tilling the fields, when they both witnessed an extremely bright light a little over 300 feet above their heads. Boas, leaving his brother behind, set out to investigate. As he got closer, it suddenly darted away at tremendous speed to the opposite end of the field. He approached it again, and again it darted away, back to where it had started from. This maneuver was repeated no less than 20 times. At last discouraged, Boas returned to his brother. Boas said, the light kept still for a few moments longer in the distance. Now and again it seemed to throw forth rays in all directions, the same as the setting sun, sparkling. Then it suddenly disappeared, as if it had been turned off. I am not quite sure if this is what actually happened, for I cannot remember if I kept looking in the same direction all the time. Maybe for a few seconds I glanced elsewhere, so it may have lifted up and disappeared before I had the time to look back again. The next night he worked the fields alone, and when he was at the same spot he and his brother had witnessed the light the night before, he saw a reddish light in the sky which zoomed toward him at remarkable speed, so quickly that it was on top of me before I could make up my mind what to do about it. About 160 feet above his head, it stopped suddenly. This light was so intense that he couldn't see his tractor's headlights through it at 1 a.m. Boas said it looked like a large elongated egg with several technical features about it. 3 legs extended from beneath it, and as it settled to land, Boas ran to his tractor in terror. When he reached it, the tractor and its lights died. Making his escape out the other side and running toward the house, his arm was grabbed by a small figure. It only reached to my shoulder, in strange clothes, which he violently shoved away. 3 more small figures surrounded him and lifted him off the ground by the arms. Inside the craft, the encounter Boas described these creatures in great detail. All of them wore a very tight-fitting siren suit, made of soft, thick, unevenly striped gray material. This garment reached right up to their necks, where it was joined to a kind of helmet made of a gray material that looked stiffer and was strengthened back at nose level. Their helmets hide everything except their eyes, which were protected by 2 round glasses, like the lenses in ordinary glasses. Through them, the men looked at me, and their eyes seemed to be much smaller than ours, though I believe that may have been the effect of the lenses. All of them had light-colored eyes that looked blue to me, but this I cannot vouch for. Above their eyes, those helmets looked so tall that they corresponded to what the double of the size of a normal head should be. Probably there was something else hidden under those helmets, placed on top of their heads, but nothing could be seen from the outside. Right on top, from the middle of their heads, there sprouted 3 round silvery metal tubes. I can't tell whether they were made of metal or of rubber, which were a little narrower than a common garden hose. The tubes, which were placed one in the middle and one on each side of their heads, were smooth and bent backward and downward, toward the back. There they fitted into their clothes. How I cannot say, but one went down the center, where the backbone is, and the other 2, one on each side, fitted under the shoulders at about 4 inches from the armpits, nearly at the sides, where the back begins. I didn't notice anything at all, no hump or lump to show where the tubes were attached, nor any box or contrivance hidden under their clothes. Their sleeves were narrow and tight-fitting to the wrists, where they were followed by thick 5-fingered gloves of the same color, that must have somewhat hindered their movements. As to this, I noticed that the men weren't able to double their fingers altogether, so as to touch the palms of their hands with the tips of their fingers. The difficulty did not prevent them from catching and holding me firmly, nor from deftly, later, manipulating the rubber tubes for extracting my blood. Those overalls must have been a kind of uniform, for all the members of the crew wore a red badge the size of a pineapple slice on their chests, and sometimes it reflected a shiny light. Not a light of its own, but reflections, such as those given by the rear lights of a car, when another car lights it up from behind. From this center badge there came a strip of silvery material, or it might have been flattened metal, which joined onto a broad tight-fitting claspless belt, the color of which I can't remember. No pocket could be seen anywhere, and I don't remember seeing any buttons either. The trousers were also tight-fitting over the buttocks, thighs, and legs, as there was not a wrinkle nor a crease to be seen. There was no visible hem between the trousers and shoes, which were actually a continuation of the former, being part of the selfsame garment. The soles of their shoes were different from ours. They were thick, about 2 or
so they
3
have got
inches thick,
shoes.
and a little turned up, or arched up, in front, so that the tips looked like those described in the fairy tales of old, though the general appearance was that of common tennis shoes. From what I saw later, they must have fitted loosely, for they were larger than the feet they covered. In spite of this, the men's gait was free and easy, and their movements were swift indeed. Perhaps the closed siren suit they wore did interfere slightly with their movements, because they kept walking very stiffly. They were all about my height, 1.64 meters tall, in shoes, perhaps a little shorter, because of those helmets, except for one of them, the one who had caught hold of me out there. This one did not even reach my chin. All seemed strong, but not so strong that had I fought with one of them one at a time, I should have been afraid of losing. I believe that in a free-for-all fight, I could face any single one of them on an equal base. It's interesting to note the similarities between Boas' descriptions of the creature's clothing and that of fairies. The unevenly striped uniforms sound not unlike the sort party-colored clothing design one might expect on an elf, or perhaps an evil jester, researcher Bruce Ruck speculates, even with bent hoses sticking out of the head like tasseled bells on jesters' caps. At this point, while resisting as best he could,
Let me just have a look. So, what's that one there? Does that mean to be
it's a
space
sci-fi. Looks like 60s, 70s sci-fi, doesn't it?
Are they saying that's where you got the idea from, with the tubes to the helmet?
No. Look at the price, $2 in 1957. Don't think so. On any magazine, no chance. I can't see the date, Paul, but didn't take me long to work that one out.
Yeah, the tubes he's got going into the back of the heads, right? The helmets, side of the helmets.
Well,
so this is the pineapple badge there.
But I wouldn't take too much notice of these artists' illustrations, because that's all they are.
So could the pineapple actually be a sun? Because if you cut open a pineapple, it does look like... you ever seen pineapple? It's got that sort of outer... Could be a pattern of a sun rather than a pineapple. But anyway, I wonder if it'll carry on.
while the actual abduction occurred on the 15th.
Oh no, that's crazy. It's gone up
15th, his strange...
Yeah.
No.
I forgot about that. Where did we get down to? That picture down here, wasn't it? I think it goes from where your cursor is.
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, his...
Yeah, I'll figure out this
while
new reader here. That's where you want to go.
While the actual abduction occurred...
Keeps going up the top. We'll go here.
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, Boas said, maybe for a few seconds I glanced...
Doesn't make any sense. Should go from where you want to read it from.
Yeah, it should, Paul.
Submit news/videos/links.
So it's gone to the bottom.
Discuss article. Submit news/video.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, please, God.
Please, God, tell us why it's not working.
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, his strange encounters began 10 days. Boas said, comments powered by. Submit news/videos/links.
It skips a whole lot for some reason.
Do you want me to read the damn thing out?
I don't know. You can do if you want. But why doesn't it go for the selection?
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th,
doesn't make any sense,
his strange encounters began 10 days early.
I wonder if I go back on this one. What's that picture there? Unexplained. Inside the craft. So maybe we can read it on this one again. Man, there's quite a lot there.
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, his strange encounters
still on
began
this
10
page
days
as well.
earlier.
Oh, Paul, what
A
are you
little
doing,
after,
man?
Boas
What are you
said,
doing,
the light.
man?
Submit news/videos/
There's
link.
something crazy on this page I don't like. Oh, we shouldn't have paused it. It was going alright.
Look,
Yeah.
he had sex with an alien. And it went not too well. Because the alien made
Links.
disgusting
Submit
grunting noises.
news/videos/.
Paul, what are you doing, man?
Trying to get this damn thing working.
No, forget about it. He had sex with an alien. A female alien of kind of non-description. The female, well, we presume female alien. I mean, we don't really know, do we? For sure. Jesus. I mean, yeah. But whatever it was, made horrible grunting noises during the sexual encounter. And it kind of spoilt it for him. Basically, he was just about to lose his lob on, you know. But he managed to pull it off.
Continue from here.
/links. Discuss article.
Bullshit. It doesn't work. Microsoft, you need to work on that. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I thought maybe I could copy it and paste it somehow to another page, but there was a lot there to read though, if you wanted to read it out.
Yeah, sure, but I need the text back.
Let's see.
While the actual abduction occurred on the 15th, his strange encounters
No,
began 10
you've
days
gone back
earlier.
to the beginning.
A little after, Boas said, the light kept still for a few moments long. Comments powered by.
Yeah, it just skips whole
Submit
chunks
news/videos/link.
Stuff it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. At this point, carry on. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to. At this point, while resisting as best he could, Boas found himself being pulled up a flexible metallic rolling ladder into a hatchway, which closed behind them so neatly that no seam was visible to the naked eye. Now he found himself inside a small square room, bare furnishings, brightly lit, the same as broad daylight. By recessed square lights in the smooth metallic walls, suddenly an opening appeared from the seamless wall, and Boas was led into another room. The only furnishing visible was an oddly shaped table that stood at one side of the room, surrounded by several backless swivel chairs. In brackets, something like bar stools. They were all made of the same white metal. Ooh. Where have you moved to now?
Up the top there.
Okay.
Yeah. White metal.
Okay.
The table.
Yeah, the table, as well as the stools, were one-legged, narrowing towards the floor. They were either fixed, such as the table, to it, or linked to a movable ring held fast by 3 hinges, jutting out on each side and riveted to that floor, such as the stools, so those sitting on them could turn into every direction. Okay. His abductors then grabbed and held him in a place while communicating in sounds that had no resemblance whatsoever to human speech. I can think of no attempt to describe those sounds, and I can't see it all, Paul.
I know, but last time I moved it to your complaint, so there you go.
Yeah, it's okay. So different were they from anything I've ever heard before. Those sounds still making me shiver when I think of them. It isn't even possible for me to reproduce them. My vocal organs are not made for it. He compares the sounds of animal grunts, some longer, others shorter, sometimes containing several different sounds at the same time. At other times, ending in a tremor. So, this is quite an elaborate kind of hoax, isn't it? I mean, there's just no need for all this. You've gone up a little bit too far there. Oh, no, that's fine. Curiously, these creatures then began undressing him. Despite his constant opposition, they obviously couldn't understand me. They stopped and stared at me, as if trying to make and understand that they were being polite. Besides, though they had to employ force, they never at any time hurt me badly, as they did not even tear my clothes, with the exception of my shirt, perhaps. Stripped naked, they rubbed him all over with a thickly odorless liquid. Oh no. And then was prompted into another room with red inscriptions over the door. Like scribbles of a kind entirely unknown to us, he would recount. Soon 2 of the figures joined him, carrying apparatus with which they took some blood from his chin. Wow, his chin. Why of all places? Leaving small scars that were later located by the doctors at the hospital, but that caused him no pain and only I think that's it.
Only minimal discomfort. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that brings us on to the succubus.
Succubus or
and
incubus?
No, succubus is the female demon. And it's an interesting tale. Maybe it relates.
But
hopefully the reader goes a little bit better with this.
Blonde Nordic woman's not normally associated with the succubus, though, is it?
Ooh. Paul, from all the accounts, they tend to shapeshift,
I thought they more turn into a hack, a witch hag, or let's see. What
maybe the old hag as well. Yeah.
But I thought they normally have dark hair. Have we got any pictures? Medieval pictures. Demon form, supernatural, trace back to medieval. They appear in dreams and takes the form of a woman in order to seduce. Doesn't say what they look like through sexual activity. Has it got any other stuff? Long hair. Statue of one there. Folklore. As depicted in the Jewish mystical work She left Adam and refused to return to the Garden of Eden. Not into all that religious stuff. Ability to reproduce. There's a lot of reading there. Scientific explanations. In the field of medicine, there are some belief that the stories relating to encounters with succubi nearby bear resemblance to that contemporary phenomenon of people reporting alien abductions, which has been ascribed to the condition known as sleep paralysis. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh at the same time. It is therefore suggested that historical accounts of people experiencing encounters with succubus may rather have been symptoms of sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I know it's kind of funny, isn't it, Paul? But at the same time, I mean, that lad Stan from Wales, his experience, I believe, 1,000,000% what he told me, I believe that to be a fact. So, Jesus, I mean, this is medieval times. Of course, they were blaming anything on demons, and it was their way of thinking. It was the only way of thinking, wasn't it? They weren't thinking about aliens. You know, they were convinced that planet Earth was the only intelligence in the universe. Everything revolved around planet Earth. So now we're living in a different kind of environment. So, and we understand that life, the universe now is probably teeming with life. Yeah? So we're looking at it at a different kind of perspective, if you see what I mean. So what we described as demons once could be aliens now. So maybe this phenomena had been going on a long, long time. And it was just kind of hidden in kind of folklore, if you see what I mean. And this is the whole reason I brought this up. So I honestly think it's related.
So this one talks a bit more detail about it. They are often associated with Bohan, Sith, and Vampire, with deer feet, of all things, who seduce men, and are afraid of iron. Never heard of that. Word is derived from the late Latin succuba, scrupit from succuba, to lie under from sub under, and cuprari to lie. Quite strange. Lie under. Description.
No, to lie as in tell a fib. Spelt that way.
Long-haired to liffy and winged. What's that word? I wonder if we can read it out.
Succubi in traditional fantasy form may comprise of various sexually appealing forms. From long-haired to lithe and winged. Succubi appear in whatever form is most pleasing to its intended victim, though they commonly appearing as scantily clad, shapely, winged demons. Previously, succubi were noted as being horribly disfigured monsters, with monstrous of rows of teeth, 3 sets of breasts and talon-like nails. The descriptions vary from legend to legend.
Okay.
Yeah, you see what I mean? It kind of moves. But whatever it is, it's seductive. It draws you in whatever shape it takes.
powers and
Is
abilities.
It part of the abduction phenomena? I think it is.
Can
I
move
think
faster
would be
than the eye.
very silly to overlook it. It'd be a huge oversight, Paul.
Kiss of death. So they talked about being lift up, so it talks about super strength here, but that was other creatures though, not the woman. Kiss of death. His ability to distill life force energy. Super stamina. Healing factor. They fully heal from most wounds. Sounds like a super villain, doesn't it? Lust empowerment. Dream walk.
Whatever it is, it's been here a long time.
Supernatural being. Sexual inducement. Shapeshifting. Immortality. So there you go.
Well, I mean, it can actually destroy your soul, if you believe in a soul. I mean, I've suffered with sorry for cleaving my throat. I've suffered night paralysis since I was I think it started when I was around about 13, 14. And I just put it down to a medical condition. And a bit later on, it started getting a little bit haunting, you know. I'm seeing kind of voices in there. And it was, to say it was unpleasant is an understatement. And I've had to live with that and still have to, you know, to this day. And I don't think night paralysis is just what they medically pass off as. Well, you can easily look it up on the internet and think, oh, yeah, well, that's what it was, like, blah, blah, blah. But night paralysis and abductions have been related for many, many years now.
It's funny you're talking about that. Even last night, as soon as I went, even when I went to bed last night, I was just trying to drift off to sleep, and it felt like someone was under the sheets of my bed, and they were touching me private parts. Funny, you get this funny sensation. Yeah, it's crazy last night. I couldn't sleep.
So you got lucky.
No, there was nothing there. That's what I mean. It felt like the hands are actually under the cover, but there was nothing in the room. I even got out my laser pointer grid to see if anything would bounce off in the room. This is how I was certain that something strange was happening to me. And yeah, you know, I hadn't fallen asleep. I wasn't sleep paralysis or anything. I just getting comfy in bed, getting warm because it was really like 4 degrees outside last night, Celsius, and you get this funny tingling thing going over your leg, and then it goes up to your private parts, and then you move, and then it goes away, and then it comes back again. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but it's funny, we're doing a story about the succubus today, and that's exactly what the feeling was like. It was like something was messing with me, and I've never had that sort of stuff happen before. So maybe it's a sign, I don't know. But it did feel like invisible hand was touching me, and it was just annoying. And
Spooky,
then it felt like
at a distance.
Yeah, it felt like something was trying to push me off the bed too. You know, like at the moment I feel like I'm sliding off the bed. It was like I got out and I lined up the mattress again. Got back in, got comfy, and it felt like something was pushing me off the side of the bed again. So I seem to get all these crazy things that seem to happen to me. And then it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. I think, oh shit, I'm not going to get any sleep for today's show. And here you are, you got a story about a succubus. So yeah, maybe it was a sign, synchronicity again, you know. But you talk about, have you felt like something was touching you under covers at all?
No, never actually touching me. Hold on, let me clean the throat a second here.
It's weird until it happens to you. Yeah, you get this funny tingling sensation. You know how people often talk about burning sensation. This was more like a tingling sensation, like pins and needles almost, but it shouldn't happen like 2 minutes once you get under the covers, right?
Yeah.
And then it felt like also the covers were being pulled a wee bit too, and yeah, so I got my laser pin that I bought from $5, and it puts a big grid in the wall, and you look for anything that sort of flickers in the light to see if there's anything invisible, and just nothing was popping up. So yeah, I thought I'd try. You know, I'm not religious. I thought I'd say, God, if there's something in this room, please remove it. And nothing really happened. So maybe because I'm not a believer or something.
So,
and then I said Jesus Christ, because you normally meant to say Jesus Christ, help me, and then they disappear. But that didn't work either. And eventually, eventually I fell asleep. You know, I was that tired, and then the alarm went off, and it was the next thing I remember. But yeah, in the end, I ended up putting up shorts on, because normally I sleep in the nud, because I find that I tend to sweat otherwise a bit more. So yeah, I ended up putting on some shorts and then going to bed, and then sort of eventually fell off to sleep. But yeah, it's crazy, I tell you. Yeah, and you can hear it from Paul. Paul has all these strange experiences happening. But it's just funny that we're talking about stories. Almost talking about the Succubus,
I'm glad it's come up, because it's an interesting one. And a lot of it, the stuff that's happened to me, it's funny how it started at that kind of age when you're kind of most vulnerable in your puberty. It's probably, it's that time when you're going through life and you try and make sense of everything. You've got the depending on what sex you are, you got the girl factor, kind of pull a girl. If you're a man, if you're a girl, kind of pull a man even. But then you got this going on as well. And I tell you what, it wasn't nice for me. It really wasn't nice for me at all. And what I felt was there was a presence there.
Yeah. And you haven't got a laser pen like I have.
And Jesus, and it wasn't my friend. It wasn't my mate. That's for sure.
No.
It was like it was looking at me. It was there, but it wasn't revealing itself. And it was keeping me up at night. It was waking me up at all, and especially when later in life I had to go to work, which I hated.
This is weird. I've just got a cold spot come over me on my feet here. It's gotten absolutely cold in this room. Talking about this now.
Oh my God. You're joking.
I'm not kidding. Well, so if you hear any strange breathing noises or whispering on EVPs, let me know. I might have to put the heat on. No, it's that cold. It's suddenly gone that cold.
Mate, it's don't worry about it. We'll be okay. But yeah, there's no doubt that there's something out there that just isn't quite right.
Yeah, the paranormal line to the
go
UFO.
And argue all shit he wants, but there's something out there. There's no question.
Well, there's something in here too, rather than out there.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. It's not that's that bad.
Yeah, this cold spot is annoying the hell at me right now, and I got the light on next to me here, which is generating some heat. But yeah, it's just weird. I wasn't cold before, and now it's getting colder and colder in here. I tell you, maybe I need to move. But yeah, this has only sort of got worse and worse.
Come on, Paul. Come on. This is paranormal live.
Well, yeah, I need to get some meters and stuff like they use on the shows and see if it all triggers and stuff, because it'd be interesting.
Well,
need to get one of those EM pods. You know those REM pods they talk about? They're like $200 to buy. They're ridiculously expensive. But you can't. There was a video to do your own and make up your own circuit board and stuff. Yeah, I'm a bit too old to do that now. I've got like these sausage fingers that don't really help for making circuits. fiddly
My
components.
honest opinion, Paul, yeah, is I don't think these things get captured by any instruments as hard as we try.
Well, it's funny how the paranormal and the UFO seem to merge at various points. Yeah.
But as I've always said, like, I think what we're being hit by is multiple phenomena, you know, rather than yeah. If everyone got together,
yeah,
you know, the UFO community and the paranormal community, and even demonology community and all those other people, if everyone got together, I think we'd be in a better place and we'd have more of an understanding of what's actually going on.
So my bedroom is actually between two bathrooms, which have got these big mirrors on the wall. So that sort of always freaks me out a wee bit. I'm between two mirrors, which, as you know, can reflect paranormal energy into a portal. So I'm like in one of these ghost boxes. Yeah. Who knows?
You can have connections with people. There's certain people that I'm in touch with. You're one of them. I kind of get the feeling you're gonna message me, and bing, happens.
Yeah.
And it's not just once, not just twice. That's happened over and over again, and I kind of scratching my head. How does this work? You know?
No, for Christ's sake, you got me in your dreams fighting off alien invasion now, so...
Well, there was that as well, and I was first to bring that up, and you confirmed it. And that was a bit nuts.
Yeah, I had a similar dream a year before, so... But it was John back then. But at the time, he was my co-host back then, and now you're the new co-host, and now you're getting the same dream, which is really crazy. I don't know, something more going on. It's kind of strange. I wish something like that would happen to Mick West, you know, and suddenly he'll start doing videos where he's trying to document it. Instead of debunking it, he'll probably try and document it to prove to people that he's not losing his mind, because that's what ends up happening. Like me, now I'm having all these strange experiences. I need to get the equipment to be able to document it to prove that it's just not my imagination.
Okay, well, talking of Mick West, an interesting one. He was on with Edric Lukes just a couple of days ago. Yeah, and he's backing off, mate.
Oh, is he?
I never thought I'd see that. Now he's saying, I wish people wouldn't hate me for debunking everything, blah blah blah. Now he's kind of saying some UFO cases could be real. Now it was only about 3 or 4 months ago when he was on with UFO Jesus, yeah, when he said the chances of aliens visiting this planet was 1,000,000 to 1. So that's a shocking turnaround, isn't it?
Yep. I think the more you get into this field, more stuff happens. Because you make connections with people that are also experiencing it. And, and of course, if you upset people, they might even put a hex on you, you know, which might be what I'm dealing with, because a lot of people out there do hate me for some reason. But, I just after the truth.
A hex can only hurt you if you believe in it.
True. But I don't know. You know, you've heard of people doing voodoo and putting things in underground buried that people don't know about, and they start having strange...
sticking pins in dolls and...
No, not necessarily that. No, like a little pouch of stuff that they buried in houses, and then they start having all this strange activity happen, and then investigators come in and find the ground's been disturbed, so they dig it up and find something under there. I suppose you've got to watch a lot of paranormal shows to come across those particular episodes, but I don't know, it could be something in it, because, you get haunted objects, haunted dolls is one thing, because I reckon dolls, spirits like to hide in, but like an attic.
No.
Attic, I mean, not attic. Like a loft. Like hiding in cupboards and lofts for some reason. But yeah. I can tell you, some nights we've had big bang noises on the roof, right? And it wakes me up, and I go and check on the rest of the people in the household, and they're all dead to the world. And I look out the window, look around, see if it's like burglars, and there's just nothing out there. And so I just put it down to maybe a cat jumped away from the fence, which is a fair distance away. At least 3 meters. Would a cat be able to jump 3 meters onto the roof? I don't know. So yeah, strange stuff, like a demon on the roof. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll tell you now. I've had multiple kind of paranormal experiences in my time, but I'll tell you about one. It was on a place called 3D. We were staying at a local, well, it was an ex-school. And it was 2 nights before we actually had to leave. And it was a college jobby. It was, we were doing like outdoor adventures and that. I'm fairly tired, what have you. Went to bed, and all of a sudden, middle of the night, believe it or not, there's 2 guys in this dormitory where there was only 12 bunks. And of course, at first your eyes adjust to the light, don't they?
Yeah.
So that took a little while, because I thought, I can't be there. I shouldn't be there. And then, of course, there was a little bit of light coming through, because there were street lamps outside. And this place is in the middle of nowhere. It's Snowdonia. So, okay. So now I can clearly see there's 2 people.
Yeah.
In the room. And everyone else is asleep. So I'm thinking, yeah, because it was by their bunk. It was a guy called Walshy and James. So I'm calling out their name. Wake up. Then my eyes adapt even a little bit more. And I realise, oh my God, they're still in the bunk. Oh no.
You know how many paranormal stories I've heard that on TV? It's just a common one, that one.
Honestly. Well, this is the worst of it, Paul. Listen to this. I was in the bottom bunk, and I had a guy called Adam in the top bunk. Yeah. So I'm shouting out now to everyone to wake up. I'm panicked. I'm shitting myself. Absolutely shitting bricks. Yeah. So I'm punching up, and it's only like a flap to the top bunk. You can easily. And I made plenty of contact with him. And I was shouting out everywhere, and nobody in that room would wake up. How the F is that possible? It's
different
impossible.
Reality.
And the thing is, different reality, no, Paul. Put it this way, Adam was bruised all over his back the next day. Where I hit him.
Right.
I wasn't trying to hurt him. I was just trying to wake him up.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, you haven't got our out there hoodie on. I see again.
No, it's not the out there one. No, that's clean.
More. We have to buy you some more.
We'll get that on next week. Yeah, we'll do it next week.
We need to get some more merchandise out to you, so you got more options.
It's strange though, Paul. You know, the guy faded these two guys, they faded into the wall. They didn't go through the wall. They just faded in. It was
That's exactly my experience with paranormal. That it fades in the room and fades out. Doesn't actually walk through the walls or doors or anything.
1,000,000%.
I'm starting to shiver here, and it's sunny outside. The sun's streaming in, and it's freezing cold in this room. Yeah. It always is on the same spot, and yet it's warmer on the other side of the bed than it is this side. I have to get some paranormal gear, I think, and just do investigations sometime. But I did play around with the phone apps at one stage, and I had this EMF detector on the phone, and it worked really good on this old phone. It had like a old, chunky antenna and all that sort of stuff, and it worked really good as a detector. And I would wave it around, and it always would be where the cold spot was. So it would go high, it would go, and then you move it out the cold spot, and then it would go back to normal. So I know something was strange going on even years ago. So, but yeah, it's gradually got worse since I've joined the UFO community. So, not sure what all of it's about.
I'll just be honest. I'll say it out now. If anybody thinks there's nothing to ghosts and paranormal, they're delusional. I've seen it with my own two minces. Not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times. I've had other people that have talked to me, that have opened up to me. There's something to it, no question.
Yeah, they say if you have an out-of-body experience, you become like an attractor of ghosts because it changes your, I don't know, your brain function somehow, that you're able to detect things. I don't know if you've ever had it out-of-body or not, but
no,
I did when I was a teenager.
I don't think so, Paul. But night paralysis, I mean, that's a damn good excuse for a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there was meant to be a relative. I think my dad's sister was talking about it. She said there's someone in our family that used to be able to communicate with spirits, and I thought, oh dear, don't tell me that. Maybe it skipped a generation or something, and maybe I have got some perceptive skills that I didn't know I had or something. But yeah, I suppose we should carry on with this thing here, but people may like our stories or not. It's up to them whether they believe it or not. But this guy's story is crazy as, for sure. And did he make any money out of it? Did he make a movie or books out of it? Do you know?
No. I think the only thing he could have gained from that was destroying his career, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh well. So you want to read out more, or? I know it's a shame the reader doesn't work.
Yeah, it don't works on my side. I think you see, because the text on my side is clear, but when I see it on your side, I'm actually struggling to read it.
What do you mean by that?
It's kind of as if it's been blurred down, as if it's in like
it says HT. Are you looking at YouTube, or are you looking at the direct one? The YouTube one should be clearer, I would say. But it'll be like 30 seconds behind. But that's alright for reading. Perhaps you can use that one.
No, mate, I can't see that. It's blurred.
This is why you need a 50-inch screen connected to your laptop, and then you can just sit back.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, you should be able to do it. You got a 50-inch there, haven't you? You just need an HDMI cable.
No, just 32-inch.
Oh, right, you only got a 32. That doesn't help much. I don't know if we can make it bigger. Let's see, it's 100% now. Won't let me scale it up. And this is way too small here. Is that clearer?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, now that's gone. That's gone impossible.
Let me scale it up then. Can you read that? Although it's half a page gone.
Yeah, but we've got the basics of the case now. He was abducted. There was the usual. There was electrical interference or engine interference, I should say. He had sex with an alien or succubus, and yeah, he had nothing at all to gain from it. So I think now we need to go back to.
Well, it talks about here.
Doctor.
He said he left alone for an hour and made himself comfortable on a large, featureless, foam rubber-like grey bed or couch in the middle of the room.
You could make it up, could you?
I think you could make it up.
Oh man, you'd have to have one hell of an imagination.
Not really. A foam rubber-like mattress, you know, that's common for a bed, isn't it? Why not just say that? So to me, I would have said, oh yeah, it would have been like a hover bed. You know, it didn't have any legs. It was like floating there. Or maybe you didn't even need it. It was like yeah.
I see what you mean, Paul. What you're trying to look at is you're looking for something that's more futuristic to make it realistic to you. Now, what I'm trying to say is what they're doing to you is projecting an image to make you feel more comfortable. Yeah? Put you in an environment where they can do what they want to you without destroying you completely. And of course, in a lot of cases, it hasn't gone well, in my personal opinion. But that's what they're doing. That's my opinion. And it's only my personal opinion. I can't be sure, but I think what they're doing is projecting an image.
So he's having sex with this woman in front of all the other crew as well.
Well, is it a woman? Is it a woman he's having sex with? We don't know that, do we?
He says here,
he says
opened and walked a naked woman. But then he talks about the rest of the crew here wearing the same helmets. So were they watching? Kind of creepy. She came in slowly. Yeah. I stared open mouth. She was beautiful, though of a different type of beauty. I haven't known. Her hair was blonde, nearly white, like hair dyed in peroxide. It was smooth, not very thick, with part of it in the center, and she had big blue eyes. Again, it sounds like a typical Nordic thing. What year was this again?
1957.
And when was Billy Myers ones?
Hill, 1961. So this was before any other well-noted abduction case.
You sure? I think 57 Billy Meyer sort of popped onto the scene though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but who's going to have heard of Billy Meyer in 1957? That was a 60s job anyway.
I don't know.
So your timeline's all wrong there, Paul.
I don't know.
No, it's not your fault. I'm the history guy.
Billy Meyer. Let's see. When did he first talk about, what do you call it, blondes? Nordics. First mention Nordics, I suppose we can say. Did he call them Nordics, or did he call them something else?
I think they came a bit later, you know. The so-called
1937. So it could have come from there, couldn't it?
Well, he was born 37, so
10 years. Oh yeah, born it says. Yeah, I thought that's not what I asked Google to tell me though. So
no, I know where you're trying to go. Yeah,
I want to know when he first met the aliens. Billy Meyer. 42, is it? Claims extraterrestrial encounters began in 1942, and this one was 1957. You say? So yeah, could have got it from this guy.
The Boas abduction was 57. Yes.
So it's like at least 15 years after Billy's. 15 years after Billy, so he could have heard the story of Billy Meyer.
Well, mate, that would. Oh no, I don't think so. That doesn't stack up to me. I don't think you have any idea who Billy Meyer was.
It would have been sci-fi magazines and all sorts. I look how ridiculous that one is. You know, the wedding cake one, they call it. Billy Meyer. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, we need to ignore that stuff. We know that's bullshit, Paul.
Well, still people out there believe him. Well, here we go. Looks very similar description to this South American case. What do you call it? Palladians.
Yeah.
Which they believe he got it from Martin. What's that guy's name?
Well, that was a name he made up for them, wasn't it?
No, it was from the TV show. Was it Martin something? What's that famous guy? The singer. They used to have a TV show.
Okay, then. So he stole the name from somewhere else. I don't think it's a good idea to be spending too much time on these fake guys, you know.
Looked like a Arabian princess. Her nose was straight, not pointed. Not turned up or too big. Contour face was different though because she had very high, prominent cheekbones that made her face narrow to a peak. So that of all of a sudden it ended in a pointed chin. Okay. Which gave the lower part of her face a very pointed look. Her lips were very thin, nearly visible in fact. Her eyes, which I only saw later. But you can always argue that he's seen a screen memory, not the actual thing that was actually in front of him. Is often what these contactees say, don't they? There was a broken bone somewhere. What's that talking about there? Cheeks gave one impression that there was a broken bone somewhere underneath. Cheekbones.
Well, yeah, again, Paul, that's a human's perspective. We're trying to understand something, like a goldfish looking out of a bowl. Trying to understand human society, you know, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. I know you're a science guy, and you're trying to put things into perspective as best you can with the way your brain works. But I think this is taking us to a different level.
And the question is, did she come back? If they had sex, then obviously it was to do with reproduction, DNA,
well, listen,
or whatever.
Yeah, well, remember Stan Storty? Yeah? But they actually introduced him to his child. Stan from Wales.
Oh, right.
And that abduction story, there's similarities.
Yeah. what's this? Her pubic hair was also bright red, which may have been omitted from the original publication due to sexual of the time. 50s. You're not allowed to talk about that. Female alien as described by Boas recounts that the woman came toward him in silence, looking at me all the while as if she wanted something from me. Pressing herself to him, she understood what her purpose was.
Yeah, and performed a variety of acts, or sexual acts. Oh, Jesus, man. I think we'll have a bunch of perverts joining us next week.
A rating booster out there channel. We got nude pictures and sexual stories, yeah. Well, you can't say we're not also entertaining then. We're not boring. We had a guy called Ron that was saying that we were boring and he couldn't watch us. And then after talking to him, he changed his mind and he showed up on the show yesterday. I'm not sure if he's about today. Ron, something, I can't remember what his last name, Devilish or something like that. So watch out for him.
Yeah.
He may have changed his tone about the Out There channel, saying, oh yeah, he's watched a few of them now and joined in on the live, that he quite likes what we do, especially the debunking and exposing the BS. So yeah, I think he watched a few of our discussions here on UFO cases. Didn't realise I actually did debunking live streams as well. So yes, horses for courses, I guess. But we do a mix. We don't just debunk. We also look at UFO cases to get some balance and personal experiences as well. And it looks like it's going to be ongoing, going by last night anyway. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you think your mind's playing tricks on you, but you know, if you keep having it random times, and it was like dead on 3 o'clock when this thing happened to me last night too. I thought, oh, I'll get to bed at 2 o'clock, and it went on to 3 a.m. And then I went to bed, it's dead on 3 a.m. and then bingo, it all started happening. So yeah, as soon as I turned off the lights. But so we got another case to carry on, or we got more on this one?
Well, I think we're done with this one. But do you know what? I think it's a little bit too much for, oh, Jesus, for us to all work out with our, simple little human minds. But anyway, on the farmer factometer index, how many sheep? You go first. Or do you want me to go first?
What was it? 1 not alien and 5 is alien. I don't know. I suppose you have to go down the middle, probably 3 sheep on this one.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to hold 5. I'm going to hold 5 on this one.
So we're going to call it the FFM, is it? Farmer Factor Meter.
Farmer Factor Index. Get it right.
FFMI. FFMI. There we are. We're making new descriptions in ufology already.
FFI. Just the FFI index. Farmer
Factor Meter Index. Or
index.
Farmer... Or you could call it FFI.
It's the Farmer Factor Meter Index. But it doesn't matter. That's cool.
So you said it was a 1 sheep, did you?
Oh, this case.
Yeah.
No, I'm going all the way. I reckon this is one of 5.
5? That's not skeptical at all. Okay.
No.
So you better type it in there then. FFMI Rob equals 5. FFMI Paul equals 3. So what's your FFMIs there, folks, on the side? Type it in. We have to have a... Can we actually do polls in side chat? That would actually be a good function, wouldn't it?
It would.
Can't see any options, really. I'm too scared to touch anything instead of causes problems. Manage moderators. Okay, that's a new add-on. I don't think there's any option for add poll. Oh well. So yeah, we're finished with this one. So, and you got the link there. You can go and read it out yourself. Even though the reader wasn't going to play ball on this page. What was this website? The Unexplained Mysteries. Was that on their show? Was there an actual video that they made of this? Or was this some other person's channel?
Yeah, there was, if the reader's not working so good tonight, this is actually for Ken as well, about the MJ12 documents. I'm going to leave a link for him here to watch this. Hold on, where am I now? I need to pull that down a bit. Yeah, go have a look at that, Ken. It's interesting. Oh, what's happened to it? Oh, there you go. It's there.
I'm used to saying you're live. Folks, welcome back to the Roswell UFO Conference.
We can hear it playing in the background. What are you playing? Robert.
Yeah. Sorry for that, Paul.
We might get copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Unsolved Mysteries.
It was only 2 seconds.
Yeah,
so
2 seconds.
Do you know what, Ken? I think the best thing you can do is go and get Stanton Friedman's book. Yeah, Top Secret Magic. And you can pick that up now for not much at all. Pennies. Really speaking, this is an old book now. It's from early 90s, I believe. But the MJ12 documents, they broke in 1986 when Jamie Chandray received these 35mm film through his letterbox, and they actually had a New Zealand address on them. So I reckon it was Paul. It was Paul all day. Nah, it wasn't Paul. But yeah, and when they were developed, it was quite interesting, and they're a controversy to say the least. Do I think they're genuine? Probably not. Probably not. But I tell you what, I'm not sure either. I think some of them could have been, because even the experts couldn't figure out one or two of them, And it took the FBI over 12 months to debunk them. And the way they done that, when they did decide to debunk them, was extremely childish. They just put hoax right across the page. Well, how to take 13 months to debunk something if they weren't a bit confused about it, if they weren't having a damn good look at it. So hell yeah, go get them, go get the book, and you'll see all the best of the documents in Stanton's book. And if you want to put them on your wall, go get a photocopy and stick them on your wall, blow them up. stick with you all. That's what I've done with a few of them.
Yep.
But we actually did an episode on MJ12, didn't we, Paul?
We did a mention of it, yeah, and looked at some of the documents. I don't think we did an episode as such, did we? It was part of another case.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Did we get a link for the next case? Which is the next case we're going to talk about then?
Okay, give me 2 seconds.
French one, wasn't it? Abduction case as well? Was that the one? I have to bring up Discord to see, probably. What was the next one we had? The Amarante, as they say that one?
UFO incident, yeah.
Nancy, France, 1982. Oh, I thought it was in France, but no. And whereabouts is that one then? Sounds American, is it? Could be American.
No.
Italian? Is it Italian? What's that word?
No, it's France. France.
It is France. Nazi. You're saying France. I thought her last name was France. Let's see. It says Portugal here. That is next to France, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's Portugal, mate. It's not France. It's the same difference.
Yeah, you're in the wrong place.
Are we? I typed it in Wiki on the Google search.
Yeah. Don't worry about the map too much, Paul. It's not important.
Doesn't say France here anywhere. So I don't know, mate. Let's see what the map search does.
In the meantime, just responding to Ken now. You know, the original, there was 8 pages that came, you know, through in Chandre's letterbox there in 1986, and I reckon the original 8 with the most likely to be genuine. After that, a lot of people started jumping on the bandwagon, and they were just producing, you know, false documents that you could see that some like spotty faced kid had done in his bedroom, kind of stuff. But the first 8 that was sent, whoever done them, I'll tell you now, had a lot of deep inside knowledge, and you have to ask, why would they have gone to that kind of trouble? If the UFO subject was all a load of bollocks, then I don't really get that.
Yeah, the only search come up for Paris was a restaurant named that. That's kind of weird. Copy. Let's see what the case.
It was farming land, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, it's got to be Portugal, not France. Anyway, let's go with your case. See what it says.
Let's hope we can play this.
I think it may play this site. Okay, we've done this one before, haven't we? So, see what happens.
Editorials.
A
truly bizarre sighting in late 1982 in Nancy, France is perhaps one of the most intriguing on record. Not least as it is little known outside the most ardent UFO enthusiasts of the country. Furthermore, the identity of the witness and the exact location remains a mystery due to their desire for absolute anonymity. This desire for anonymity, as well as the fact that the police and later a recognized UFO organization were part of the investigation, perhaps lends the case that bit more credibility. Then, there is the apparent physical evidence to examine. A seemingly dehydrating of Amarante flowers beneath, where the strange object hovered. This detail could prove very interesting when we consider the apparent connection between water and other minerals and elements within the Earth itself and UFO sightings. We have, for example, previously examined the Trans-en-Provence case from January 1981. Is it possible the Amarante incident is a continuation of whatever objective was behind the sighting almost 2 years before it? Furthermore, as we will examine a little later on, several very similar incidents would take place in France within several years, either side of the Amarante incident. One of the same UFO organizations, Japan, who conducted some of the most extensive investigations at the Trans-en-Provence encounter, would also do so for the Amarante case in Nancy. Is it the case that a very specific objective was at the heart of many such sightings in France at the time? Or might the important aspect to such cases not be the objectives, but what the details of the sightings, and more specifically the state of the locations following them, tells us about the propulsion methods of these crafts? The one aspect, at least according to some, that keeps the UFO question so secretive. Contents: a sudden descent out of the perfect blue sky. An official and immediate detail for detail. An oval-shaped. Intriguing. The intrigue. Evidence. A credible witness. Other intriguing vegetation cases. One of the multiple points.
No.
A solid. A blueprint. Another. A sudden descent out of the perfect blue sky. At around 12 noon on October 21st, 1982, cell biologist Mr. Henry was in his garden in the small town of Laxe near Nancy in northeast France. The sky above was clear of clouds and a perfect blue in the glow of the early afternoon sun. However, the serenity of the moment was shattered when a flying machine came out of the sky, its structure shining brightly in the sun, although not hampering his vision, and seemingly arriving in his location out of nowhere. Although the object had taken him by surprise, the speed was relatively calm as it continued to descend. Thinking it would pass over him, Mr. Henry eventually backed away slightly as the object appeared to head straight towards him. Then it stopped, hovering around a meter above the ground. From this angle, he could see clearly the oval, disc-like shape of the metallic craft. He would later describe the craft as having a metallic appearance similar to polished beryllium. The upper half appeared to have a strange blue-green color to it. As he stood staring at the hovering oval object, he noted how it remained completely silent. Furthermore, he couldn't feel any excess heat or any apparent effects of radiation. The craft would remain in place for around 20 minutes in total. During this time, Mr. Henry would locate his camera and attempt to take a picture. However, the device, already showing signs of wear and tear, would jam. Then, out of nowhere, the craft would rise into the air and continue upwards in a direct straight line until it was out of sight. An official and immediate report and investigation. Mr. Henry remained home until 5 p.m. when his wife arrived back from work. After telling her of the sighting, the pair would travel the short distance to the police building to report the incident. While the police would treat their report seriously, it was perhaps the presence of plants and ample vegetation in the garden that would cause them to take samples away for investigation. Indeed, these samples would most prominently be of amaranth's flowers. It was noted upon arrival how private the garden of the Henrys was. It was, as Mr. Henry had insisted, perfectly feasible that he was the lone witness to the strange craft simply due to how the garden was seemingly walled off on all sides, either by trees, fencing, or the walls of other buildings. Even to access the garden, according to the police report, one must take a very narrow path of 80 centimeters wide and about 30 meters long from the main street. The garden itself was only very small, around 10 square meters, although it contained an abundance of plants and flowers. These would include evergreen shrubs, wallflowers, lavender, and of course, most important in this particular case, amaranths. Samples would be taken, and any possible effects studied. Then, with Mr. Henry's assistance, they would go over the incident once more, in minute detail. And so, for the time being, we will tag along with them as they break down this bizarre, but intriguing case detail by detail. Detail for detail for detail. If we go back to the beginning, then, we will recall that Mr. Henry was unaware of anything out of the ordinary taking place until he happened to look upwards. At this point, he became aware of the device that grew bigger looking at him. We know from this, as well as from Henry's own words, then, that the device was completely silent. Furthermore, after contemplating that the object was a small airplane or possibly a helicopter, perhaps due to the controlled and calm manner of the descent, although still in itself very fast, he would stress that he expected the object, based on the angle of trajectory, to land over the top of his house on the other side of it. However, instead, it would hover directly over his garden. You can see the drawing below which shows the approach of the strange craft, and the purposeful change of direction. It also then shows the direct vertical ascent of the same craft a short time later. Was this a conscious decision by whatever intelligence was behind the strange craft? If so, what was apparently so special about this particular spot of land? In the middle of a highly built-up residential neighborhood in the middle of the day, no less. Or might it have been the presence of Mr. Henry himself that attracted this saucer-shaped craft to descend to only a meter above the grassy surface of the garden, and then hover there for 20 minutes? Remember, during this entire time, the object does not make a sound at all, and remained completely silent. Even when it shot directly upwards into the bright afternoon sky, not a single noise came from the futuristic machine. An oval-shaped object like two lids.
I'll just pause it there. So, yeah, you can see a picture. It's a built-up area. It wasn't actually a farmland. Some big buildings either side.
Ascent.
Yeah, small garden, so it comes down vertically like a helicopter. So, yeah. So now we've got a location, right? We want Nancy in France. Not the other name. That's the name of the flowers or whatever it was. Which come from Portugal, probably. Nancy.
Oh, Jimmy Savile.
Here we go. Let's see where it takes us now. Oh, there we go. It's also near water, which is interesting. It's amazing. Amazing how many UFO cases are always near water. And paranormal, of course.
That's an interesting factor. Yeah, water and UFOs kind of go together.
Oh, what it was called, what did they say at the beginning here? Luxul. So can we see that on the map? I think we can, can't we? There it is. So it's in a build-up area, and we got a big forest here as well. Is it? What's that say? Is it a forest? Yeah. Or farmland, is it? No, it looks like a forest. Wow, that's a big forest of it is. Okay. But where's the water that I saw on the map there?
Can you zoom out a bit, Paul?
Where's the water? Is that the stream going through here? No, it's a highway.
Whoa.
Is it farmland or water there? Oh, it could be water, couldn't it?
Paul, I think you're looking at the sea.
Is it the sea? Or is it farmland?
Oh, you need to zoom out.
I did. Are you a wee bit behind?
Oh. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. But you know, these maps aren't particularly important, you know. It's the actual witness event. And you know, just looking for these maps time after time, and trying too hard to find the exact location when it's not going to be the same as it was then at the time of the incident, I think is just wasting the viewer's time.
Unless you want to look for connections. It's all part of the research, mate.
That's fair enough, yeah.
But
the whole flow of the case is gone now.
No, it's not. He's got a small garden that comes really down to him, and you can see it's in a built-up area next to a big forest by the looks of it. So, just carry on.
Lids on top of each other. During the time that the object was stationary over the garden, Mr. Henry himself was rather active below. As the report notes, he would make a great number of trips to the object and back again, all the while taking in as much detail from the craft as it resided there in midair. For example, after standing in the middle of his garden as the object approached, Henry would then back away against the wall of his kitchen, fearing a crash landing was imminent. After remaining there for several minutes, Henry then ventures back towards the object. It was around this stage that Mr. Henry would make the decision to retrieve his camera in an attempt to obtain a photograph on the object. He would return inside in order to do so before walking back out into the yard once more. After discovering the camera is jammed, however, Henry discards it and instead approaches the object once again. As he walked around various points of the object's underside, he would watch intently, studying the craft as closely as he could. Interestingly, he would describe it in almost identically a way as several other up-close witnesses as two lids on top of one another. Essentially, a flying saucer or a disc. Furthermore, and also of interest, is the insistence of the witness that the craft, at least the top blue-green section, was not homogeneous and gave the impression of a translucent volume. He would elaborate that it was not quite vapor and had a plexiglass look to it. And what's more, the colors and activity inside appeared to be something very special and unknown. Intriguing and, at the time, trivial details that are scientifically sound.
Okay, stop it there.
It is interesting, for
So what he's saying there, homogeneous. What he's saying there, it's like liquid glass. Now, there's been tons of other sightings where people have said that same thing. Don't understand it, but it's interesting.
Well, they talked about it being more like jelly, and you sort of squeeze through and go through solid surfaces like jelly, and it sort of wraps around you again behind you. Which I looked at various live streams. So I've talked about quantum tunneling, which is based on this concept where solids can pass through each other. So
I'll carry on, Paul.
No, carry on.
I know we're disturbing the flow of things again now, but I was listening to Kevin Day, Nimitz Encounter, and he was on the Jimmy Church show the other day. It's not a show that I watch particularly much, but I keep an eye on it because sometimes he has some good guests, you know. And I thought I'd tune into this one, and I watched it. And what he was saying was, when he was observing these things, the way they were moving was not like a machine at all.
All right.
They were moving as if they were organic. You know, it was something that was living.
All right.
Or that was alive, I should say. So this kind of ties in a little bit.
Yeah. Carry on.
Sure.
Well, you didn't say.
For example, that the material of the lower half of the craft appeared similar to beryllium. This material was often used in rockets for the space programs and other such aircraft. Although he was not certain what the material was, that it appeared strong, but lightweight at the same time is not only similar to other descriptions from close-up witnesses to these bizarre crafts, but would also make sense for anyone building such a vehicle destined for space travel. Of further interest, and again something many other close-contact UFO witnesses speak of, there appeared to be no obvious seams and connections between the upper half and the lower one. It was as if the entire object was somehow made from one piece of material. Even the fact that the object did not make a sound, was something that Mr. Henry would maintain throughout the investigation. He himself would state he was unable to explain how this was so. Science, for example, would dictate at least a whistling sound of resistance. However, the object remained completely silent throughout the duration of the encounter. It was during this period of study that the object suddenly began its rapid ascent. Perhaps interestingly, as well as not suffering any ill effects of being in such close proximity to the craft, Henry was also seemingly unscathed from any after effects of the sudden takeoff. The intriguing and telling behavior of the grass. One thing Mr. Henry would notice when the object took off was that grass directly underneath it.
Sorry, mate. Did you want me to pause it?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Yeah, Ken's saying there. I always like to listen to people's comments and questions. Yeah, they've seen some sort of energy wave making it seem organic. Yeah, Jesus, man. You know, that's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not sure either. I mean, a lot of people have had sightings of stuff that's like appears to them in the sky like a jellyfish. Oh, geez. I mean, is it possible that something organic could visit here?
So you're saying it's a UFO, but it's actually a full creature, is what you're saying. Space jellyfish. You're saying a space jellyfish visits Earth.
No, Paul. What I'm saying is people have reported things that they
are critters.
They presume to be alive rather than a machine.
Yeah. Well, it's possible, I guess. You could have like a stuffed jellyfish that go from planet to planet. They could float around on helium inside their bellies. Maybe they could even have other creatures that live inside them. And use them like a transport vehicle. That's possible. It's like a sci-fi fantasy, though. And it could be clear, and it could be like a squid or octopus that can change the outside camouflage so it blends in with the sky. So you never know.
I think we're all just like stupid guessing game, aren't we?
It makes it for a good sci-fi, like I said. Unless you got it on video. But yeah, we've had critters generally turn out to be these Mylar balloons and stuff. We've seen it time and time again from all these false UFO channels out there. Wherever there's real creatures out there, we don't know. There's so much junk in the sky now, it's not funny. You know, you can get helium balloons that look like jellyfish, you see, and that's where it all sort of goes wrong. Unless it's way old story going back to the 40s or something when they didn't have that sort of stuff in the skies from China. So, yeah, that would change it. But nowadays, if people talk about critters and stuff, I sort of think, yeah, let's see the proof, because often it's just helium balloons. So, yeah. It's possible that starships don't have to be metallic. It could be living organism. Why would you do that, though? Is a question. Why would you want to travel around? Maybe because it can self-repair in space, maybe.
Well, life evolves, and maybe it evolves in space as well.
No, they're talking about
Yeah,
they're talking about memory metals that can deform back into themselves. But when you think about it, human skin tears and it can re-heal itself. So really, that's what they want for in space. If you're going to travel long distances, self-healing skins and all that sort of business.
Sure. I mean, years ago, I don't know how many, not that many years ago. I'm sure you're well aware of they call it extreme files that they found in places under the ocean. The Pacific, more than anywhere.
Yeah.
They found species there that they didn't think it could possibly survive. You think of the massive pressure.
Yeah.
To survive there, and my God, I wouldn't like to meet them earthbound. So there's a lot going on that we just don't understand.
Yes, it could be that the aliens are from within our own planet, and
yeah. Hey, mate, all the cards are on the table.
Earl Grey was saying he's got a fantastic case of reptilians, and I said, yeah. Straight away I think of David Icke when I hear that word, and BS after the name. But yeah, he reckons it's credible, and he's got a lot of scientists on it, so he said he might be able to talk about it later. I hope he does, because it'd be interesting to see what he reckons, because he's convinced they're doing some real scientific thing on this reptilian stuff, and there's a lot of witnesses to seeing them and all this sort of stuff, so I have to see what Earl comes out with that one, or wherever he's allowed to. It's a MUFON case after all, so they might be using it for presentations yet. He said he's dealing with a lot of PhDs, but as we know, PhD doesn't necessarily mean they have it right either. And of course, a lot of them are programmed to think the way the universities want them to think, rather than outside the box, which is what you need in this field. You need to think outside the box in this field, because it's not, as we say paranormal, but it's really parascience. Something that needs to be studied and understood somehow. And of course, you got the Skinwalker Ranch TV series at the moment that's a lot of people seem to be liking, but it's full of errors and stupid stuff, as well.
Well, I'm going to say flat out now that is, oh Jesus, on the farmer factometer that gets it doesn't even get a 1. It doesn't even get 1 sheet.
Well, I've talked to Earl about Skinwalker Ranch, and he's still on the mind that it's definitely got paranormal that happens there. So I don't know.
I'm sure it does.
I haven't seen it on the TV show yet, and I haven't found any proof of paranormal activity. But we certainly found a lot of strange possibilities of it being related to something natural. The microwave background and the glowing atmosphere around the mountain, because as you know, which I was going to bring up next weekend on Martin's show, there was a PhD guy who's talking about earth lights, and there's scientists that he met at university proposed this paper, and now he's like the earth light specialist of the world. And this other scientist, he said it's quartz crystal underground. Again, Kentucky comes to mind there. A lot of quartz crystal around the area there. And what is it? The 57th parallel, whatever it's called. And when you squeeze quartz crystals, you have this piezoelectric effect which emits radiation, which could explain microwaves. And also ionizes the air. So ionizing radiation as well. And that creates excites the gas in the atmosphere, makes it glow like a neon light, you see. So his explanation was that quartz crystals are creating the earth lights, creating these plasma balls. So whether that explains Skinwalker Ranch, I think it's a good possibility as well. But yeah, has to be UFOs.
The issue I have with that, is why aren't they captured?
Hey, what issue?
Why aren't they captured on camera if this is a natural phenomenon?
Well, they have been capturing the science of the glow around the mountains and stuff, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. Was that on the TV show?
Yeah, they had glow around the mountain and also had a beam of light, apparently, which is possible. Because if the quartz crystals kind of acts like a fiber optic in a way, so if they're getting squashed, all the energy can actually be funneled through the crystals and out of a what you call it, like a lava tube or some hole in the ground. It creates a beam, natural beam that goes upwards. It's possible. Then you got ice crystals in the air that can create a vertical column with ionized light. So there's all sorts of possibilities there, science-wise. But yeah, I sometimes question the PhDs they've got on that show there. They say and do some stupid things for PhDs, and they really need to consult more experts. And now they're bringing in Linda Moulton Howe. It's going to on the next episode, it's going to sort of throw it out the window for me probably, but we'll see where it leads to. Cattle mutilations is the other thing. Like I said, if it's got
that show, to be honest.
Isn't it on tonight or something? Yeah, isn't an episode on?
I don't see how a plasma ball can be under intelligent control.
No, but what can happen is, like in what is that place called? Henderson or the Henderson Lights, whatever it's called. What's that place name? Not Henderson. Where they talk about different charges between the two mountain ranges, where you got a positive line and a plus line, and when the plasma ball forms, is attracted between the two fields like a battery, and it moves around the sky. So it could be a natural explanation for that as well. Yeah. This is why we need scientists, more scientists, PhDs in this field. To actually
outlined for UFOs over the years, haven't they, as well? You know, and earthquake activity, tremors, all this kind of stuff. It's any kind of excuse to blame it on something natural.
You seem to be fading out now, so can you just drop in and out again on Jitsi there just to reset it?
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'm hearing it. I'm not sure if Google's hearing it. But we'll just reset it. Normally fixes the problem. You got the cable connected, or are you on Wi-Fi there?
Cable connected.
I see. It sounds automatically amazingly different, and the CPU's dropped down a wee bit. So that's kind of weird. How it does that. Anyway, carry on reading this case. So we're going to be on 4-hour live stream. Is it going to read?
It, and only this particular patch of grass, would stand on end for several seconds before returning to its normal position. Furthermore, no other plant or flower appeared to move at all, which would suggest the movement of the grass was not some coincidentally timed blast of wind, but something directly connected to the object above. What's more, when investigators would attempt to recreate this in laboratory conditions, they would discover that very intense electric fields were successful in achieving this. This is an interesting finding, perhaps suggesting that whatever or whoever was behind this strange craft, its propulsion appears to be some kind of highly controlled, but highly intense electrical surge or wave. One so powerful it can, literally, rocket an object into outer space from a standing, hovering, or stationary position. But also, one so controlled and contained that the surrounding area is not affected in any way. And even the ground, or in this case the grass, directly below was only temporarily stretched out of shape before returning to its natural form. Of course, how a human being might fare directly underneath such a craft might be another matter. Regardless, such a propulsion method and means of power would be invaluable to humanity, as we have discussed on several occasions. We have also mentioned at least as many times that it is this highly advanced technology alone that keeps the subject locked away deep in the files of the shadow government or whoever controls access to such information. Perhaps upon seeing descriptions of such technology up close, we should ask ourselves why respective governments are not tripping over themselves to develop such technology instead of looking to bury it. Evidence of electromagnetic energy waves. With regards to our case here, though, it would appear the analysis of the flowers of Amarante plants in the garden were perhaps most telling. These flowers appeared to be completely dehydrated, almost purposely. Furthermore, some of the fruit in the immediate vicinity of where the craft hovered had completely cooked. What's more, the roots of the affected plants were still very much as one would expect to find in a healthy plant or flower. It would appear, then, that the dehydration process, whatever it was that had caused, took place at the midair level only. All of these things would again suggest exposure to some type of electromagnetic wave of energy. And as the witness freely walked under and around the object as it hovered, stating that he felt no heat or cold from it while doing so, it would appear to be the case that any damage suffered by the plants, fruit, and flowers happened as the craft shot directly upwards. Propelled, it would appear, by some type of blast of electromagnetic energy. As well as the analysis of the flowers and the descriptions of actual descent of the object, investigators would also evaluate Mr. Henry himself. His character, his credibility, and his personality. A credible witness in the extreme. They would find the witness to be credible and authentic in the extreme. Every little piece of checkable information would correspond to his version of events, right down to the weather conditions, and the comment that it had been slightly foggy in the morning despite the sunshine. Records show this to very much be the case. Even the way he carried himself suggested a person who was detail-orientated and precise. In short, not only was Mr. Henry a reliable witness, he was a positively good one. What's more, his desire for anonymity further suggests a person who has no interest of obtaining fame through speaking publicly of his encounter. He also had little to no interest in UFOs or science fiction. His interests mainly revolved around his job and spending time in his garden. In short, as the report would sum up, there was no reasonable evidence to reject the testimony of Mr. Henry. Ultimately, however, the identity of the intelligence behind the saucer-shaped craft remains unknown. As does the motivation for the sudden appearance over residential France in the middle of the day. It is certainly most likely the case that this damage is a simple and unintended consequence of such close contact between such a cosmic craft and the ground. However, what if these close contact, hovering cases had an agenda of their own? One that involved the materials and chemicals contained in the ground itself? Other intriguing vegetation cases. There are several other UFO cases that have taken place in France around the same time, where it appears the vegetation, or the elements within it, are of prime importance to the intelligence behind the, usually, saucer-like objects. We have examined the Trans-en-Provence case of January 1981 before. On that occasion, not only were several scorch marks left in a distinct pattern on the ground, but very clear changes to the vegetation were noted, including how withered and dry it appeared. A little over 2 years previously, an incident labeled the Crystal Case revolved around the persistent appearance of flattened grass several days after the sighting of a UFO. Samples of the affected grass were passed to Toulouse University for analysis, which would appear to show significant changes to their chemical structure. Several years later, in September 1987, a UFO sighting known as the Joe Le Taxi case featured bizarre lights and sounds near woodland in Avignon. When samples of leaves from the birch trees nearby, significant changes to their chemical and molecular structures were evident. Might it be, then, that as well as the cases where UFOs are seen over large bodies of water, or even draining water tanks on the land of farmers around the world, they are withdrawing various chemicals, minerals, and nutrients from the ground itself? It is a notion that many UFO researchers have claimed
That's what I
before,
was trying to look at the map.
that these cosmic visitors, while not necessarily launching outright attacks against humanity, are nevertheless stripping huge amounts of such essential ingredients for life from the planet for their own ends. And while it is a claim a little outlandish, even for some of the most ardent UFO enthusiasts, it is also a claim that several alleged contactees, perhaps most prominently, Albert Bender, have made also.
Hey, Bender.
One of the closer guarded secrets of all time. It would appear, however, on this occasion, there doesn't appear to have been an attempt to extract anything from the vegetation below. What is perhaps the important aspect of the case here is the evidence of highly advanced electromagnetic propulsion technology right here on Earth. Of course, whether that technology is already here and in the hands of a secretive strand of world government, or whether it is owned by visitors to our planet from elsewhere, is one of the main driving points of the UFO and alien question. And why, at least to some, the subject is of such importance to our world today. Surely, we would imagine, given all we have achieved as a collective, our greatest technological minds should be able to use such data in such a way as to achieve the power seemingly on display that afternoon in the small town of Nancy. As flippant as that last point might sound, given the rate of technological advancement in the times we are living in, it is not a stretch of the imagination to think such a thing could be achieved. Of course, to some conspiracy theorists, that technology is very much available behind closed doors. It is also, for the sake of mass profits and control, one of the closest guarded secrets of all time. Multiple points to consider. Let's assume for one moment that such conspiracies of suppressed alien technology are accurate. What does that say about the UFO and alien question in general? For example, well, it might answer, if we assume for a moment, and for the sake of argument the accusation is true, why world leaders conspire to keep information about UFOs top secret and away from the general public. It still doesn't address who these visitors are in the first place, nor why they continue to come here. Might, as some researchers and conspiracy theorists believe, these cosmic beings be part of this alleged mass deception of humanity? Might, as some researchers and conspiracy theorists believe, these cosmic beings be part of this alleged mass deception of humanity? Might there be some truth, for example, to the alleged deal between alien visitors and then President Eisenhower in 1954? A deal that would see highly advanced technology being gifted to the Eisenhower, or more specifically the powers he represented, all in exchange for access to the American, and likely the world's, public through what we know today as alien abduction for unknown experiments. Or might, as other apparent contactees claim, the visitors from elsewhere in the eternal void that is the universe be attempting to pass on such knowledge, so that humanity might free itself of the reliance on oil and the corruption that comes with it? As dramatic as it might sound, could it be the case that such a quest is the modern equivalent of ancient legends such as Prometheus passing the knowledge of fire to humans, so they could advance and become like the gods themselves? Or might this dark desire to keep humanity collectively enslaved to the oil industry and visitors from elsewhere helping themselves to the resources of the planet all be...
Yep. You want me to pause it?
Yeah, so that's interesting. It's funny how the human race has progressed to where it is today. And, oh my God, our primates haven't moved an inch. It's difficult to explain, isn't it?
Makes you wonder what the oil companies do with all that profit they make too every year. It must be trillions of dollars.
Well, I mean, that's on a slightly different subject, isn't it?
Yeah, but where's it all going? What they spend it on?
Yeah.
Secret space program, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Money's going somewhere.
Yeah, someone's having fun anyway, not us.
Yeah. And I tell you what, if there's technology out there, and I've said this before, I think, but it's absolutely criminal to keep it from us. There could be kind of the free energy out there, and yeah, I hope not. I just don't. These triangles we see. I mean, some of them that I've seen, they've got easily seen exhaust plumes. So I think there's our triangles and their triangles, and I don't know what the hell is going on. It's a confusing mess, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. How are we going for time anyway? I think we're getting near the end of the article. 3 hours and 9 minutes at the moment, so finish off this article and wrap up, or
yeah, I'm starving.
I've just been given a hot sandwich, so I'll see what it is. I think it might be egg and bacon again. I know. Yes, it is. We live on egg and bacon sandwiches around here. Anyway, just carry on reading, gang.
Okay.
Be running parallel to each other? A solid, credible close encounter of the second kind. In terms of the Hynek scale, Mr. Henry's close encounter of October 1982 would have been such an encounter of the second kind.
No.
Defined by Hynek as containing some kind of interference, perhaps electrical, or, and certainly applicable in this case, where there is damage to the vegetation or the ground where the event took place. This most certainly describes the events that took place in the small, private garden of Mr. and Mrs. Henry. And perhaps because he could only sense an energy inside the upper part of the craft, we have to resist moving it up to a third kind close encounter. What is perhaps the key thing to note in making the incident a close encounter of the second kind, is that it removes pretty much all possibilities that the encounter may have been in the mind of the witness only as opposed to a real event. Now, there is definite evidence of some kind of disturbance. And one containing a large amount of concentrated power at that. To say the Amarante's incident is perhaps down to a mistaken sighting, or even a hallucination, just doesn't hold water. Unfortunately or not, despite the ample and thorough investigation into the events, carried out in the immediate aftermath as opposed to a considerable time later, there is very likely very few if any new revelations about the case to surface. At least in terms of details about this particular encounter. How this incident and the research into it might be used and applied to other cases, whether as a similar approach, or to cross-reference similar details, however, remains open. A blueprint for location analysis. What is the important information for UFO researchers to pick out from the intriguing, but rather obscure incident in northeastern France in the autumn of 1982? Why, for example, did such an incident occur in the first place? Was Mr. Henry, or his property, a purposeful selection, or was the entire thing coincidence and circumstance? Is there more to learn from such analysis of vegetation around UFO sightings? Peter Sturrock would suggest, it is most likely the case that should locations of such sightings be subject to examination in the immediate aftermath, these conditions will most likely be discovered too. Perhaps by studying such conditions of the vegetation and environment in the immediate vicinity, we might be able to better understand these futuristic and desperately required methods of power. It would also, at least in theory, and allowing for genuine cases that don't correspond to form, allow investigators to rule out obvious hoaxes much easier.
Didn't scroll down. Especially,
as Sturrock writes, we learn the techniques that might be involved in a hoax. And then cross-examine these with genuine and authentic cases. The UFO encounter in Nancy in October 1982 may prove to be nothing more than a footnote in UFO research. However, it might also, possibly in ways we might not yet imagine, prove to be of quiet importance. As other cases happen in the future, and even when older cases are re-examined in light of new evidence or a fresh angle, the findings of this case, as is the case with many other encounters, will one day leap out ready to provide a bridge between two unconnected, but vital pieces of information. Another intriguing case in a constantly growing pool of mystery. By definition, investigators into strange activity and phenomena will follow up each case diligently. However, we should ask if there is any apparent knowledge of an alien interest in the vegetation, as well as the water supplies of the planet, or if certain agencies can retrieve valuable data about such close contact encounters, discreetly and right under the noses of more independent investigators. After all, most in UFO circles agree that disinformation is almost a necessary evil, and something that no one is completely immune to. And, perhaps of most importance, what might the end goal of such an interest be? Are there experiments taking place somewhere in Earth's orbit by an extraterrestrial race, using samples collected during these secretive missions to the planet's surface? Is the planet slowly losing its assets due to these visitors? Or are these sightings and encounters really the result of top-secret shadow government experiments, ones more than happy to hide behind the guise of UFO sightings? There are, for example, much like many other parts of Europe, ample American military facilities in France. Given their history in such UFO matters, this is a detail that we need to at least be aware of. And what if the Amarantes incident, like the others we have looked at, are the result of secret military experiments? What might the purpose and ultimate goal of such tests be? Whatever the legitimacy of those questions, the Amarantes incident remains one of the most mysterious UFO encounters on record. It might yet prove to be an encounter that might have much more to reveal. Check out the video below. It looks at the arguments as to just what the reasons may be for UFO sightings and visitations. Disclaimer. The stories.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good points there that could point to something that's well more towards the ET than the mundane. I think it's a good case. Yeah, and on the farmer factometer, I'm going like a 4.
A 4 on this one. I thought this was better than the last case, actually.
Really?
Well, they had physical evidence, right?
Yeah. And if you want to look at trace cases, look at Ted Phillips's work. Just type him into Google. Some really good stuff there.
I'll give it a 4 sheep and 1 monkey.
4 sheep and a monkey. We don't have monkeys in Wales. Hey, maybe one's escaped from the zoo. Okay, I got you. Okay, we'll go with that. It's all good. All good. Yeah, I turned my screen off, Paul, because I'm kind of driving an agony here in my neck.
Oh, yeah? I thought you had that sorted out. I saw you bending over a bit there. I thought you had a table now, so you can have it at eye level.
It is at almost eye level, yeah. Maybe another 2 books, and it will be.
I still think you might need a big screen set up there at home.
I think that would help.
We're the poorest UFO people on the planet, though.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for telling the truth.
Unlike certain security members that can go to motels and buy new laptops.
Just tell a load of porkies and you'll be loaded.
Yeah, just say you're dragged off by the men in black.
Yeah.
We're only joking about money there, Susan. You'd have to donate. Thanks anyway.
Jesus, no. Oh, Suzanne, doing...
That's all right. We got to get a new computer. I think we've been hitting 100% CPU, so I'm not sure if it's been corrupting on Google at all. But yeah, it's getting up there in CPU. Yeah, bit shame the reader was mucking up there. Do you have your dinner at midnight? Do you? You said you're getting hungry. Do you just have a midnight snack? It's lunchtime here.
I generally like to eat before I go to bed, yeah, because it helps me to sleep.
Does it?
Although they say it's not good for you.
No, it's not. Because it makes your liver have to kick in while you're sleeping. and stomach acid and all that.
Oh, thanks for that, Paul.
Mm.
Here goes another sleepless night.
And what she got this time, a sticker with a chipmunk. So she's raised it 4 sheep and a monkey and a chipmunk. So it's like a poker game.
Oh, it's Rogers.
Oh, it glitched in. We hit 100% CPU in the Zoom there. Well, we better let people get away, yeah?
Yeah.
How are we going for time? You want to go and get a snack? And we didn't have too many people drop by today, even though we've had like 5 constant watches. It must be something else happening on the web or on TV tonight as well.
Yeah, well, we have the usual suspects. I'll be honest with you, like, I've been ever since this suspected C-19, I had constant fatigue. To be honest, it's I'm sleeping all the time.
Yeah, that's the same as me, but I haven't had it.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling to stay awake 10 hours at a time, and I'm just not on form. You just can't
it's like
do it.
me lately, 5 hours fine, and then I've got to have a nap for 3 hours, 4 hours, and then wake up again, and then I'm okay. And it's just annoying. And then when I want to go to sleep, I get annoyed by Succubus. Possibly.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what's going on
there. That's Ken's fault. Yeah, blame it all on Ken.
Now I said that word again, I got that cold spot again. So before it was warmed up here, and now once I said that word, my feet have gone cold and there's a cold spot. It does feel like almost like a person standing there, kind of creepy. Anyway, I sort of got used to it now, so I'm less scared of it. I don't know. It's moved away now. The cold spot's vanished again. Be good to catch it on video, I wish they'd show themselves up. You see these stories on TV. Yep.
I don't think they're meant to be captured, I don't think these things hang around on film to be seen. I mean, if it was that easy, ghosts and UFOs would have been absolute, fact, solid, with a stamp on by now. But I think we're dealing with some kind of intelligence that, isn't of this earth, basically, and is just that one step smarter than us. And as hard as we attempt, we just can't get a hold of it.
I think I just need to get the equipment.
All we had is clues.
And try and document the cold spots, and whatnot. But one day, I know you can get the meters from China, AliExpress, fairly cheaply, like $50-$60 and all that. But
sure,
the actual ghost hunting ones, they're not as good, and they charge you an arm and leg for them. But yeah, it's more like a senses thing rather than a visual thing. You sense that there's something moving in the room, or sense cold spots, or you sense like being touched or being annoyed. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting touched on top of the head, and it's almost like they got a if it's paranormal and it's really happening and not just your mind playing tricks, then what you can say is these have got a childish teasing mentality about that as well. They like to tease you, have a bit of fun. Yeah. But have you seen What's that show, Susan, that's currently on? The one with the nightmares, the paranormal nightmares, is that what it's called? Go and check out the show, it's really good. Some of the stories that people are telling you, and it's just crazy. This guy reckons he was out in a cabin in the forest, and his parents went away to fish in the lake and left him at home. And he kept hearing something walking up the driveway in the gravel stones. And then he looked out the window and saw this humanoid type figure, but it had a body of a goat and it had hooves. And then it had like a human type body, and then it had like this goat's head or something on it with horns, which sounds very demon type thing. Some maybe forest spirit, skinwalker maybe, I don't know.
Don't think I'd want to be meeting him anytime soon.
No, but apparently it went away, and he told the parents about it. I was trying to bang him on the door and he was going to...
See, this was the point I was trying to make earlier about what's happening in the 21st century with abductions and stuff. What was happening throughout history for millennia, basically. I think it's all. I'm almost certain now. It's all related. I mean, I was absolutely certain at one point that it was anything but. I put UFOs into one category. I put ghosts and the paranormal into another one. I put demonology and witchcraft, all different. But no. I think there's something to them all.
Yeah.
And that's the most scary thing about it all. What the hell are we dealing with, for God's sakes? It isn't good. No, I don't think there's any good in it at all, to be honest.
Yep. So, yeah, but that wasn't the only story about the goat being seen. You know, if you're being haunted by a demon that looks like a goat on top, it looks like a demon on horns, that's going to scare the crap out of you, really, isn't it, eh? Yeah. No matter how brave you are, and if you're by yourself, especially. But yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the day when these paranormal shows can finally capture these amazing stories on video. But sometimes I think it's like an image induced in the brain rather than seen visually. So the person sees it, others don't see it. It's almost like an EMF pulse that goes to the brain and the visual cortex, where it forms what you're seeing, but other people may not see it the same way. But yeah, you hear about these stories also on these shows. Either they're making it up, but it's not the only case where I've heard it, where they went to a paranormal hospital and they saw this apparition or something of the dead person that died in the hospital, and apparently it went charging at the orderly, the ambulance drivers that went there into this place, and knocked him over, and later on dragged him along the floor, and the other one's watching while it's happening. Sounds like something they see on these paranormal movies, right? But then you hear another story a week later where the people break into an old house that's been abandoned for no reason, and they find all the workmen's tools in there, like they were doing up the place, and so they decide to steal it and try to sell it or whatever. And I think that was on Paranormal Nightmares as well. I'm not too sure if it was on that show, but
Paul, you know me, I just do not trust.
Well, let me finish what they're saying. Also, yeah, they were saying that also they got attacked by this strange demon type creature in the building as well, and it dragged one of them along the hallway for a short time, and all that sort of business. So yeah, I don't know. whether these people are telling lies or not, but they all seem to be believable, especially ER people. I don't know. I know Susan's into all that sort of stuff. Susan, have you had any paranormal experiences? Because you seem to be really interested in it. I just wonder, was there any reason why you're interested in it? You should come on Voice, really, and talk.
Yeah, we'll get on one day. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah, you can have more than one person on talking on this program.
I mean, another thing is Dogman. I mean, that's coming up time and time again.
Yeah,
now.
That's on another series I watch at the moment. It's really good as well. The haunted the haunted woods or whatever it's called. Good series. That's got a lot of Dogman stories, but that's basically just a Bigfoot. That's got a dog face rather than a ape face.
No.
Yes.
You bang out of order. You bang out of order. No. Dogman. Come on. Describe Dogman then.
Well, Susan would. She's probably watched the same shows, but there was at least four
You're asking for help now.
sightings where they saw the Dogman. Had a face like a dog but looked like a body of a Bigfoot. They consider it, as far as I'm concerned, it was like a Bigfoot creature.
Well,
but it doesn't mean they're not aliens.
It has paws for feet and it has hands. It has extremely muscular thighs, very slim waist. Basically looks like a bodybuilder with a head like a dog. He's got paws for feet. And he's got 2 hands. Now, wait there, Paul. Let me finish. Come on. Fair play, lad. Yeah. So what's going on there? And why are so many people reporting this, especially in Canada? There's an immense amount of reports in Canada. A lot of them are quite credible too, or at least they seem to be. But there's no way all these people are making this stuff up, you know? And there's another thing that bothers me, that people see them full on, and then bang, in a flash of light, they've gone. So what the hell is going on there? No idea. I'm clueless. I'm done. I'm done with this subject. I'm giving up. You'll never see me again. Till next week.
This is definitely a great series, though. And when you watch the people talk about the you can see the fear in their eyes when they're retelling.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's some genuine people on there. Yeah.
It came from hell. It was trying to kill me. Devil monkey. I think that was the Dogman one, was it? Oh no, that was the family that lived in the woods. They built a house in the woods, and they saw this crazy monkey up in the tree was coming charging towards them. Monster in my backyard, an abandoned house. So that's abandoned house story. It was on this show, not the other show. Go and check out this show, guys. You'll love it. I've watched the first 4 or 5 now, and great stories. Attached me to my soul. Was it Hunting Us? I think that was the last one, wasn't it? So that's where they went to the woods, and they found like 50 shells on the ground. Then they got a terrible smell. But they described it as a Dogman, though, more than a Bigfoot. And they started throwing big boulders at them. So they took off.
See, this is why I go back into the medieval times for this kind of thing. Is a werewolf, a Dogman, all those sightings that went back all that way. Possibly. Do you know what? I'd say more than likely. Because it scared people then. Like it's scaring the hell out of people now.
Well, we don't have any Bigfoots where I am, and I'm pretty sure you haven't seen a Bigfoot, so... what is a Dogman?
Paul, of course I've seen a Bigfoot. I've only got to look down, man. I'm size 11.
That's a big dope. Okay, so what did they say here? Not dogging, that's sex, isn't it? They're relating it to sex, yeah. Dogman. We don't want it. I tell you, this is turned into a sex show, this
oh,
UFO
God, we
cases.
gotta have a laugh.
Bigfoot. Someone that's dogging is called a dogman. That's not what we're after, is it? Yeah, we're not going to Google what dogging actually means. They got all sorts of strange things that people do and have different names for it, don't they? Montana rancher shot a wolf-like creature. Wasn't that like Skinwalker Ranch as well? The Skinwalker looks like a wolf. Bigfoot, Dogman, have no idea what this wolf. Oh well, let's have a look. Has it got a picture? Wolf. Montana. I suppose they made it illegal to shoot them now, haven't they? Because they... it's got a lot of ads on it. What's going on now? That's not what I wanted. CPU peaking, I suppose.
You try taking a gun off an American. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, Paul.
What's this window that's popped up?
Part of the culture now. It's been part of the culture of donkey's ears.
No thanks. Well, this is crazy. It won't let me even scroll the page. This is full of JavaScript. Yeah. What is it trying to show me here? Lots of ads. Yeah, I got ad blocker. So what have we got here? Come on, where's the pictures? No, still got crazy crap coming up. So this is why people don't bother websites much anymore, because of all this rubbish that they keep putting up here. Okay, here we go. That's what we're looking at. Looks like a shepherd. That's not a dog, man.
Doesn't look too healthy.
A wolf, they're saying. What's that got to do with wolf-like creature? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They put anything up just to get click views, right? Looks like a interbred dog, so it's slightly bigger than normal.
Jesus, what is this garbage?
Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing what you find on thing, and it's got all these ads and JavaScript and doing all sorts of rubbish in the background. And yeah, I got ad blocker on, but it's not good enough. That's why I kind of like Brave when you're doing stuff. A Brave block works a lot better. Forcing Bigfoot out of its traditional territory. That probably makes a lot of sense as they keep building into the wilderness, right? They're probably going to get into its territory and see it more often. See here they're saying Dogman werewolves could be Bigfoot. 2016. But are they aliens, is the question, right?
You know, I think there's a separation at some point. I mean, we've got cases, landing cases where they've left trace evidence. We've got cases of UFOs where there's been some kind of EMF effect, high maneuverability, all kinds of things, pilot reports. So I kind of think that's kind of separate from these sightings, but do you know what? I'm not entirely sure.
Mm.
I wish there was. But, well, no, I don't, actually, because I'd have nothing to investigate.
Skunk ape, Sasquatch, you've got all these different names, right?
Yeah, but it's the same creature in different parts of the world, that's all. They're describing the same thing. They're all going to explain it in the same language, are they?
What's this saying here? The legend described individuals who, in some manner, such as being bitten by a wolf, cursed by a witch, transformed into a wolf, and the wolf-like humanoid. So that's like those old movies you used to watch, right? Somehow I don't think that's anything to do. I think that's more superstition, storytelling. But I still think it's possible. I still think it's possible that they're interdimensional, and that's why you can't find them. They just pop in and out of our existence here from another planet. It's more likely what's happening.
Multi-dimensional. Yeah, I think that's yeah. I think that's a high possibility. With our limited minds, of course.
The following day, a naked body of a local man was found dead from a bullet wound. So was he the werewolf man? Of course, that makes you wonder how many people, if they're hoax and stuff, get accidentally shot. You know, if you dress up as a big hairy ape and walk onto some ranch and get shot, and then they realise you're in a suit and quickly have to dig a big hole and bury it, and hopefully no one comes knocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the... But you could always take a few people out and hoax something.
Okay, it was supposed to be a wrap up.
The Patterson Gimel video, I think that's what it's called. That goes back a few years now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
60s, I think. You know, that was interesting. It's never ever been debunked.
So yeah, we'll say good night and let it process, and people can join us late can watch the beginning if they want to. But there were some glitches tonight. Not too bad. We got there in the end though. And good night to all. Thanks for watching, commenting, and joining in. And money.
Thanks to everyone for coming in and being patient with us.
Yeah, it's all been good. And I probably might do a midweek one again and catch up on the other stuff I didn't have time to do. But yeah, see how we go. You know, the tide levels as you're talking about. And I'll just wind down now. End credits we want. Good night, everybody. And hopefully the CPU don't peak too much. There we go. 94%. %. Jay, 1980, his wife dances to the music, apparently.
It was a good show.
The Matrix Kiwi is shutting down the power. Good night, Joe, Ken, Charles. Yeah. I think Charles left a wee while ago, though. And anyone else that we forget to mention? There we go. Ending now.
Yeah, Weston joined us.
Hang on. Yeah, Weston, eh?